I hope all have had their lunch. Okay? I mean, satisfactory lunch, so to say. Somebody is still entering. All the participants are here? Okay, I do hope all are here. All good things have to come to an end. So we are ending this now with this valedictory session, which could go for about hour and a half or even 2 hours. It shouldn't matter, because I consider this to be the most important session. And this session is actually your session. Whoever wants to say anything, and if somebody wants to sing something, I would be very happy. You can start the valedictory session. Like, it is not that only in the beginning there should be an invocation. Even valediction, you can have one. You want to sing some? Please. So we begin with a invocation, or you can say a Mangala Shasana, or whatever you like to call it.
Vanim bhajare vanim, gairvanim bhajare vanim, vanim bhajare vanim, gairvanim bhajare vanim, sukapika madhura ninadam, vani veenavadam, Mohana Murali Nadam Vismarayatiyam Vani Vismarayatiyam Vani Vani Bhajare Vani Gairvani Bhajare Vani Vedāvada Vaniyam Valmiki Madhuravaniyam Vyasabhasavaniyam Kavikalidasavaniyam Kavikalidasavaniyam Vanim Bhajare Vanim Gairvanim Bhajare Vanim Gairvanim Bhajare Vanim. Dhanyavad.
Srimati Charumati, she is from IIT Chennai, from the IKS Center. So you have started on a very good song. So Vani is more important, every one of us actually. So now we come to the more normal or formal valediction. First, I'd like to welcome Dr. Ganti Murthy, the National Coordinator for IKS, and all of you know him quite well. I didn't get a formal CV of him to introduce, but it may not matter. You have moved with him, you have had photographs with him, there, here. So once you walk 7 steps with a person, you become friends. That is what Kalidasa Vani says, So Saptapadinam Uchyate. So that Saptapadinam is over, so we are all now friends.
We also introduced him on the first day, sir.
First day? Oh yeah, I forgot. In absentia you introduced. But now he is Pratyaksha, he is here. So, I want to say a few things in general about Professor Ganti. He is actually a scientist working on environmental problems, biochemistry and concerned issues, and he has been in United States for a long time. You continue your affiliation there, sir? Oh, okay. So he wears several caps with many feathers, so to say. And we are interested in one part of it, that is the IKS coordinatorship. I have had a very pleasant interaction with him when he visited for reviewing the kind of work we are doing, so that whether we can be recognized as an IKS center or what. a committee came along with him. So they were fairly well impressed, and he was kind enough to recognize this as a IKS research center. So there are not many research centers, at least in the beginning. So we were one of the first research centers, and the university was recognized. No, it becomes a recognition for the university also. And then there have been projects with us, with Dr. Shankar Rajaraman, whom you have seen already. He is actually a poet, a medical man, an Indian psychology specialist. He also wears several hats of that kind. You would have met him in the morning in our CAHC office also. Recently he wrote Ramanuyatram. Today being Ramanavami, I'm just remembering that. That was actually a very rare kavya in Sanskrit on a political subject, or a social subject, so to say, of the Rathayatra of Advani from Somanath to Ayodhya. That was the background. He has done several other works. His Shrikanta Charitam is yet to be published. It's actually a kavya from Kashmir that he has edited, it has to be published. He has completed recently Mathurabhyudayam, which is a Mahakavya with 14 cantos or so. So that is yet to be published. Now, his more or less student or colleague is Hariharan, who has worked on Mathurabhyudaya. So you can see how our CAHC is going on. I am mentioning this in front of Dr. Ganti ji, so that this should be, they say that itopyatishayam abhivardatu. So CAHC, it is my interest, so to say, that this center should grow. Because there are so many other departments in the universities which somehow get funding and they go further and further. Now IKS, it's happening, no doubt, it's very important, but it should go in faster. And for that, the manpower is needed. And manpower means the youngsters, Money is okay, money will come. She showed about money. Money will come, but manpower is needed. And that manpower somehow, it has to come together, That is where some, the minds have to agree and then people come together to work. That is how at least one or two people have joined us. You would have met them already. Roopa, Smitha, Vani, Warija and others, Sunder also. They have come together and I am only a representative there, so that we work on a common topic, which also includes their own interest in IKS. The common factor is everywhere, it is the Indian knowledge system, which has to become, as in the first day it was said, an integrated knowledge system with the modern university education, so that it is not isolated or separate from other departments, but it should go together. And that has been our endeavor and effort in this direction. So to do that, we have been organizing outreach programs, lectures, and going to various places, giving talks and all that. This workshop was one of its kind, where we wanted to bring people together from all over India and see how it is going to be parasparam bhavayantaha. It would be helpful to us as well as it would be helpful to them. And our Professor Ganti Murthy will feel satisfied for having funded the program. So he has been the key for funding this program, not only some of our IKS work, even the CAHC is under the university. Yes, we have to give him a big hand for that. And have munificently supported all of you. I hope you all agree. Your clapping says that you are more than happy. And we were able to arrange even in this difficult time, some good food and other things have been indirectly responsible for all of that. So I have to thank him profusely for that. It may look a little bit artificial. I have to say that 2 years back when we organized a conference on a smaller size, particularly with the Vedic people and also a few archaeologists also, then also Professor Ganti Murthy from the IKS division had supported us. So this is an ongoing activity. Maybe once in 2 years, once in 3 years, we meet and then exchange notes. And my intention is that this should continue further. The others would take over, and with the help of Professor Ganti Murthy, this will continue. Now, we come to the next half of it. Before I request, sir, would you like to say now or after the? After the, okay. So let us go with the next session. That is, the activity is feedback. It may be called by any name you want, but all of you have to say something. Is very important. And that I said, she sang, but she can't stop with that. She also will have to talk. So now, so we have come to the Vaikari mode. So you have to talk now. So I will call the names as per this list. So please come. If you are comfortable, you can come here and talk. Or you want to stand there or from your seat, you can also talk. It will be recorded. Let us be clear on that. I mean, nothing wrong. You can criticize. The idea is whatever you want to say about this workshop, about the topics, about what you understood, what you did not understand, what was difficult, what was easy, all that, whatever, I don't want to goad you on that. Whatever you want to say, you can say. But please do say. Okay? So let me call Mr. Abhiram Saumitri.
Namaskar to all. So my name is Saumitri Abhiram. So with this 5 days of workshop, I have known that I just don't know about this astronomy. It's like that. I have known that, like, I don't know about this astronomy. So slowly with this 5 days of workshop, I have known something like with comets, these planets, about these planets. So it's very cool to attend this 5 days of workshop. So thank you for this opportunity. Okay.
दक्षिणे लक्ष्मणो यस्य वामे च जनकात्मजा पुरतो मारुतिर् यस्य तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनं जयतु श्रीरामः. My name is Abhishek Sharma. एवं अहं केन्द्रीयसंस्कृतविश्वविद्यालयस्य छात्रोऽहम्. अत्र आगत्य इयं कार्यशाला कीदृशी भविष्यति इति मनसि जिज्ञासा आसीत्. नाम इत्युक्ते मनसि विचारः अभवत्, नाम गन्तव्यम् उत न गन्तव्यं, यतोहि एकाकी एव अत्र आगन्तव्यम् आसीत्. परन्तु चिन्तितम् आपर्चुनिटी मिलति चेत् तर्हि गच्छामः. अत्र आगत्य दृष्टवान् बहु किमपि करणीयमस्ति अग्रे. अत्र आगत्य वयं दृष्टवान् यत् कियत् कार्यं सञ्जातं, कथम् एते कार्यं कुर्वन्ति, तथा च एते कथं कार्यं कुर्वन्ति इति अहमपि दृष्टवान्. बहु किमपि करणीयम्. एवञ्च मम मुख्यः विषयः तु फलितः वर्तते, परन्तु सिद्धान्ते मम रुचिः आसीत्. यदा भवतां रुचिः वर्तते तदा ईश्वरः अपि सहायता करोति. इत्युक्ते अहं सिद्धान्ते अधुना एव आगतवान् अस्मि. एतत् फोरम् अपि अधुना एव आगतवान्. किमर्थम् इति न ज्ञायते, परन्तु एतत् ज्ञात्वा एकः नूतनः मार्गः प्राप्तः. किं करणीयं, कथं करणीयम्, अग्रे रिसर्च् कार्यं कर्तव्यं चेत् तर्हि किं कर्तुं शक्नुमः वयम् इत्यादि बहूनि विषयाणि अत्र मया ज्ञातवान् एवञ्च मम रिक्वेस्ट् वर्तते एवं गुरवः पाठयन्ति नाम इत्युक्ते किञ्चित् लैङ्ग्वेज् ब्यारियर् अपि भवति नाम एकः एव जनः पाठयति चेत् तर्हि किञ्चित् तत् बुद्धौ तथा भवति नाम एते पाठयन्ति नाम किमपि आगच्छति उत न यथा किञ्चित् अन्ये अपि पाठयन्तु इतोपि भाषा स्वीकृत्य पाठयन्तु इति मम निवेदनमस्ति सम्यक् आसीत् बहु उत्तमं कार्यशाला उत्तमा कार्यशाला इत्युक्ते अन्ततो गत्वा सारांशरूपेण वयं वक्तुं शक्नुमः इयं ज्ञानवर्धिकी एवञ्च प्रेरणादायकी इति कार्यशाला अभवत् धन्यवादः थैंक्स टू ऑल ऑफ यू
Professor Pandurangi, many of you would be knowing. Sir, please be seated. Please be seated. He was working with the Karnataka Sanskrit University. He was the head of the Vedānta division. He is still associated with the university, but presently he is the director of the Pūrṇaprajña Research Institute. So, on lean to the Central Sanskrit University. I mean, that is on the official side. On the other side, he is a great Pandit. I need not say anything on that. And it is not for me to say more because I don't know all his Panditya. He is one extraordinary person. He is an authority on Dvaita Vedanta. And in a very young age, he has mastered several subjects. Vedanta, Agama, and even the modern Indology, I should say. That is the one which brought us together, because there are many people, we know that they are traditional, but the modern things, the modern approaches, they have not gone into that. But Professor Pandurangi is not like that. He combines both. And he is one of our well-wishers. He comes to CAHC very often. And we have had a lot of discussions, debates, difference of opinions, and also agreements. Both have been there. And he is one person who has encouraged me further to work on some of these manuscripts. And Mahasalilam, you would have seen, who are having your copies, there is a Sanskrit foreword by him. And it gave me so much of confidence for me when after he agreed to write, so that the concepts which are there, the way that I have written in English, is not against our own paramparā. That is very important for us. So I welcome you, Professor Pandurangi, for this valedictory function. He had several other functions, day before yesterday and even starting from the first day. Otherwise, we would have had him previously also. At least for this function, you have been able to get him. He will, after some of this is what, sir, so he will address you later time. So let me go further. That is Mr. Amit Gupta. Yeah, okay.
So, thank you. Namaskar to all of you. Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Dr. Amita Gupta, Assistant Professor in Center for Comparative Religion and Civilization, Central University of Jammu and Kashmir. So, might be you heard about my center as well. And my specialization in Indian Himalayan archaeology. I'm also working on the Western Himalayan part. Particularly, temple art and architecture is my current focus. So, from my center, I'm particularly working on the Marthan temple. It is my privilege to share my feedback for this particular workshop on Indian astronomy before Common Era, and organized under the aegis of IKS, Ministry of Education at Jain University, Center for Ancient History and Culture. This workshop was I should say like it is very much enriching for me, because while starting on the Marthan temple, I was not much aware of the astronomy kind of things, because it is totally related to that. And the literary part was missing, and I was seeking for such type of workshop so that I can have at least beginner level of understanding like why such type of temples were created in such type of latitude. So the seasons, the sessions and the things which were happened here were very thoughtful and structured by the people here, and it is providing deep insights into the rich astronomical and traditions which was actually floated at a time in ancient India. And particularly the lectures delivered by Professor Iyengar sir, that was truly remarkable for me. His depth knowledge was actually outstanding, so he is actually legend for me. This is my first meet to him, and his depth knowledge and clarity of presentation and made complex concepts highly accessible and engaging. And I truly feel fortunate to have learned from such a legendary scholar, and the contribution of Srinivasan sir, which he have taken the special lecture on the day one, and also I'm sorry, I'm not taking the wrong name. And also Sunder sir, and particularly, and also by Hariharan sir as well. Dr. Hariharan was equally commendable, and each session reflected the scholarly rigor and interdisciplinary perspective as well, and also the strong commitment reviving which is actually this center here at Jain University is taking. And the coverage of the nakshatra along with the references of various ancient text and suggested the literature was particularly valuable and highly helpful for me for my future academic explorations. So from a personal academic perspective, when I began, I already told you on the Marthan Sun Temple, I realized the critical need for such type of workshops that connect archaeology, temple architecture and the astronomical knowledge. At least I'm beginner, so I can understand there are several literatures which are suggested here, and now I can go back and at least I can look into that. Particularly this workshop has helped bridge the gap and has provided valuable insights that will significantly contribute to my ongoing research. And I would also like to extend my sincere gratitude to head of the department, the director, Dr. Shankar Rajaraman sir, for his leadership and the support in organizing such type of academic event. It's not easy, because I knew I have organized several workshops and conferences. So special thanks also to Professor Ganti sir, IKS National Coordinator for his vision and guidance in promoting such type of meaningful initiatives that reconnected us with our intellectual traditions. So overall the workshop has significantly enhanced my understanding and the appreciations of ancient Indian astronomy, and I look forward to more such type of workshop from this center as well as other centers which are available in India. And I'm also thankful to all the participants as well, because I met so many scholars here who have different type of expertise. So I'm also very much thankful. I knew about Ayurveda, even the Vastu, the Ayurveda. So these are very interesting things which I met here. So thank you so much. Thank you.
I would appreciate if the participants give suggestions for improvement. Thanking, fine, we know that, but something more than.
Yeah. Good day, everyone. My name is Anupriya Kanti. Well, while I'm not formally, trained in like astronomy and a thing, but this is a field of my passion. I mean, while I'm a designer, UX designer by profession, I help create experiences. A passion of mine is in astronomy, mythology, prehistory. I create a lot of experiences. So a session like, a workshop like this definitely was very, very beneficial. I mean, not only in terms of like, just understanding the depth of knowledge knowledge, because my interest has always been more on comparative, a text, seeing how different texts, even astronomy, like how the ancient astronomy across different cultures have done it. So just to go more in depth and finding new appreciation has been really, really helpful. I definitely feel like this format was very, very interesting to do it over 5 days, to go into specific topics. So yeah, I mean, definitely, I think I'll take a lot of things back from this and bring it to my practice. I had a conversation, I remember, with a few professors, even Sunder sir and all, because I come from a design field. One area I would love to help out and even help improve is like how we can make the materials, presentations more engaging and all. And I'm happy to talk and discuss more on those things. Obviously, that's just my designer brain going into what can more be done, because I believe this topic and thing is not just meant for scholarly pursuit, but also meant for public consumption in a way that is engaging. It's in a way that people can take something back and keep in mind. One thing I definitely really appreciated the professor talking was the way he approached the subject. He would present like facts and figures, or at least like what evidence was there, but instead of just making a conclusion, he was letting us decide how we can see it, and where we don't have enough information, he wasn't making a claim at that point of time, which is a very, very refreshing way of approaching the text. So yeah, I would really love to see more of this forward and even help out in these kind of spaces. Thank you.
We keep your comments in mind. That will make it more popular. Well, I have been, because of my, you can call me a Sanskrit phil or whatever. I use a lot of Sanskrit text in between. Maybe for public we can avoid design. Thank you so much. Arpi Shambhavija.
Shambhavija.
He has gone away? Okay. Mr. Buddhadev Ghosh.
Vande Paramasatyam. Namaste to everyone. So, I always had a fascination about the astronomy, the stargazing, and all the sky things from my childhood. But somehow I didn't get into the STEM, but I wanted to learn Sanskrit. And up to the BA and MA, now that Sanskrit NET has also not including the Jyotisha part. They have removed that. Not the Ganita Jyotisha, not the Phalita Jyotisha. But so I wanted to learn Jyotisha. So when I got into IIT Bombay, I got some opportunity to learn some Ganita Jyotisha from Professor K. Ramasubramanian, Indian astronomy, the course he used to take. And that was all about the siddhāntic astronomy, like so Nilakantha Somayaji and all we read. So after that, when I went into CSIR for a project, I get acquainted with that book Krishi Parashara, where it's astronomical, those Panchanga based prediction and all comes for the rainfall and all. So I developed some interest, and after that, when I met Murthy sir, he gave me that topic as I can work on that, he told. And he always told that there is one professor, that is Professor R.N. Iyengar. His paper you have to read, his work you have to read, and Mahasalilam and those things. So we all actually planned that I will come to Professor Iyengar and I'll listen for 1 week or like that. We'll spend some time with him. But this opportunity came in between. So when I asked Professor that please tell me the date so that I can book the ticket early. So he told, no, whenever, if confirmation comes 1 day before also, you have to go by, even in general Kamra. You just take the general ticket and get into the train and go. You have to go, you must go. When I entered here, I reached here and I actually got to familiar with this astronomy text, this pre-siddhantic astronomy text, and I listened to Professor Iyengar. I just observed that how little I know or we know. That thing, I think the most precious observation or realization I have from this workshop, that how little we know and how little we have done. I haven't seen Madhava or those astronomers who used to watch 50 years of the Chandra observation and all, that much rigor and discipline, academic rigor. But we have seen R.N. Iyengar sir, who actually did a lot for this tradition, revoking that tradition. I would like to give one feedback that that is, we had a very good workshop, like without wasting any time, we were doing good. If we could get some assignment on those also, on these topics, those could be more interactive, like we could work on that and that could get into brain easily. So that is that. I want to conclude with those few words, and I want to say conclude with this: Kacha Kanchana Sansargat Dhatte Marakatim Dutim. That is the Subhashitam. So I may not be that much. I am not a scholar. I am a student, and like a kacha, that glass. With this, all of you, not only Iyengar, all of you, those scholars who have came with the samsarga of those, I may be someday, I may sign that I hope to the Parameshwara. Thank you to all.
Assignments next time, because this is a general kind of workshop. Assignments can be given if it becomes more focused. I'm sure Professor Ganti is listening and how this can be organized.
We give sufficient time for us to forget after give the session.
Charumati?
Namaste, I am Charumati from Chennai. I just registered for PhD 6 months before
in IIT Madras. So I am a student of Dr. Aditya sir. Indian astronomy was a part of my coursework. So all those texts that was prescribed were siddhāntic only. So I wanted to know what will be there before Common Era. So it was a very informative session. I have taken lot of informations where I have to filter and see which one will actually suit for my research problem. And I came to know about how Puranas, the stories are embedded, so that a person, instead of just telling the astronomy, if one can remember the story, then he almost understands the astronomy behind it. So one thing I take back is the Puranic astronomy, where I have to study. And I learnt a lot about the ayanas and things. Rainfall is one thing I wanted to do, but now, yeah, I came to know how even Venus and even wind is taking control of this. So I have to work lot of informations have been there, a lot of information, but I have to do a lot of work to next find out my research problem. I am not an expert to criticize this. I don't know much about this. I am an infant to this area, so I only have a lot of gratitude towards CAHC and IKS who made this even possible for me. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Very much. As I said, you need not thank us at all for anything. That we can do at the end. For rainfall, you mentioned, we will be having several competitors in IKS who want to work on the rainfall. So you have to, it's good. If there is competition, then you are going to excel. And Puranic astronomy also, I want more people to work. That's a rich area. At least 4 or 5 people can work in that. Very nice. So next one, Mr. Devu.
Namaste. I am Devu S from University of Kerala, Thiruvananthapuram. The workshop was really amazing. We got a lot of information about ancient Indian astronomy. It helped us to look into ancient Indian astronomy in a new perspective. Before that, we only know about scientific part or siddhāntic part of astronomy. From this workshop, we we were something aware about this ancient Indian astronomy. The classes taken by Professor Iyengar sir, Hariharan sir, Sunder sir, and MD Srinivas sir, all were great. Thank you. We are very lucky for being in front of you, sir, Iyengar sir. Thank you for sharing your aura with us. The aura he had was shared with us also by sitting near to him. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody, for giving us this opportunity.
We are all lucky to be born in this country because the legacy of pre-BC astronomy we are carrying on our. You are also carrying on that. So we are lucky, all of us. Thank you so much. Dr. Bhavana.
Namaste. I'm Dr. Bhavana, Assistant Professor, Government Ayurveda Medical College, Mysore. This has been very useful for me, the workshop, especially that Uttarayana, Dakshinayana and the Rutu. The third chapter of Ashtanga Hridaya and the sixth chapter of Charaka Samhita talk about the Rutu Charya, like what regimen that we need to follow in each Rutu to maintain health. That actually my explanation for my students would be better now. After this workshop, I know how to explain Uttarayana, Dakshinayana and each Rutu calculation and all. So, and also Brahma Muhurta, what we would be learning Brahma Muhurta is you have to wake up and study during that time. But I learned that it is star based. So anything you can do on that, check that, wake up at Brahma Muhurta, open your stellarium and see which nakshatra is there, and then see what you have to do on that thing. So this has been helpful, the planning the day. Because if I tell my students wake up at Brahma Muhurta, they'll wake up at Brahma Muhurta, send a good morning madam message and sleep again. Now I can tell them what they should be doing. And I also got a research topic here, especially that Agasthyodaya and the Sharad Rutu that has been linked. It is said that in Sharad Rutu, Agastya Nakshatra comes up and that actually purifies the water. This I have doubt since many years, ever since I studied it when I was in first year undergrad studies. How can one star comes up in sky and all the water gets purified? Don't I need a water purifier then? In the first day, MD Srinivasan sir said Agastya is the southern star, superstar of South India, that he'll be there all the time on this. Then why are we using water purifier in South India? Why is not all our water very pure? So this actually made me think that Mahasalilam, the word Salilam, so that water is not the physical water, he's saying it is a very symbolic thing must be. So I have to, now I want to work on this. So when my students ask the question, how can water purification happen with a star? I actually had no answer to it. I would, they say, no, either you convince them or confuse them. I would be confusing the students. Now I'll be convincing them. This workshop has been really useful. One more thing I learned was in this teaching methodology that the sir uses. Sir used in all these things. When the subject would be very heavy, he would tone it down with a story. Like that Dashapurna Masa, that calculation and all were very big thing. And then his next thing he said was a Dhruva story. So now I know how to balance it. When you actually have a very heavy thing to tell, the next thing you tell a very lighter thing. And thank you, sir. Namaste. And one suggestion. Sorry. That, in Ayurveda they say about the Rutu and what you have to consume in the Rutu. So if the food also could have been based on the Vasanta Rutu, what Ayurveda says, because now it is Vasanta, right? So, thank you, sir.
Already people here who are raring to conduct their own workshops, in interdisciplinary areas. It is good. Ayurveda is so closely connected with ancient astronomy and nature. Thank you so much. Dr. Jinesh Shekhar.
सर्वेभ्यो नमस्कारः। विज्ञानस्य प्रकाशे यो देशः रमते सः देशः भवति भारतम्, अर्थात् विज्ञानस्य अर्जने प्रदाने च भारतीयाः आनन्दम् अनुभवन्ति। अतः अस्मिन् कार्यशालायाम् अहमपि अत्यधिकम् आनन्दम् अनुभवामि, विज्ञानस्य प्रकाशं पश्यामि। Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I am realizing that I have gained entry ticket into the rich Indian astronomy knowledge tradition. So from this workshop, I will continue working on it, learning it, and teaching my school student. I am a school teacher, high school teacher. So I will teach my school students to appreciate this incredible heritage. So I am very happy. Thank you. Special thanks to Ganti Narayanamurthy sir, Iyengar sir, Shankar sir, Hariharan sir, Smitha madam, Roopa madam, Vani madam, Warija madam, Sunder sir. Thank you to all. And I have a suggestion, sir, to IKS division and center, research center. Please continue. Please conduct more customized. If you can, please conduct more customized outreach or training, IKS training programs to special trainings to school teachers also. That is my suggestion. That is my request. Thank you for all. Namaskar.
School, they get into the universities, if they already had background, like today they are already having good background in mathematics, physics, you can take them to the higher level. So here also in IKS, if they already had in the school level, it will be far better for us to go further. So thank you so much. Next we move on to Dr. C.G. Krishnamurthy.
Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Sarvan Natosmi. See, one of the main takeaways that I got from this workshop is a Dhyaya Vachana given in the Purovak by Sriman Pandurangi Varyaha. That is, Vaitika Yajnanam Paramam Rahasyam Adidhaivatartha. This is the most important part of this entire session. We now started looking at the Veda mantra. At least me, I'll start looking at it in a different way hereafter. So, just to give a little deeper onto that, say there is in Bhagavad Gita 3rd Adhyaya, there says, Annat bhavati bodhani parjanyat anna sambhaha anna yajjam bhavati parjanyah, yajnat bhavati parjanyah, yajjam karma samudbhavaha it is. This is yajnikartaha. So in Krishi Parashara, there is the same gets into little adhidhaivatartaha. Vrishtimula krishihi sarva vrishtimulam cha jivanam tasmat ado prayatnena vrishtikñanam samacharet. Okay, then adhibhautika bhuta here straight away. Annam hi dhanya sanjatam dhanyam krishya vina nacha tasmat sarvam parityajya krishim yatnena karayet. So you have to do agriculture. That's what it says in that. See, I am actually my shastra is, Swashastra is Vriksha Ayurveda. It is a Lakshya Shastra, means applied science. And I am actually a farmer. So I have done rice farming, I have done medicinal plants farming. Now I am doing vegetable farming. So actual practical difficulties I saw. So I would really like IKS division when you approach the Lakshya Shastra like Vastu, Vriksha Ayurveda and all that, get some practitioners also into the picture. The reason is sitting here and talking about Vriksha Ayurveda, all that is fantastic. Actual problem is different. When I am doing my PhD in University of Hyderabad, I went and met CMAP director. CMAP, there is a center in Hyderabad, Center for Indian Medicine, Medicine and Aromatic Plants. So as per the director's advice, they did a workshop along with villagers. 2 farmers cultivated ashwagandha. They got huge yield. They could not sell it anywhere in Hyderabad. And then they had to go to Neemuch. Neemuch is actually between Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. They hired a lorry and then took the harvest there to sell it. 36 hours they traveled. This is the practical problem. So my cousin is doing farming in Coimbatore. He suddenly asked, I want some 500 kilos of 500 bags of compost. From where I can get it? There is no such place where it is available. So organic farming is fantastic. But such things are not available also in bulk. So these are the practical issues that I am facing almost on a daily basis. I faced. So IKS, Indian Knowledge System, Indian Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, there it has to be, if it has to be relevant, practitioners have to come in, to step into this place. That is the only request. From this I have taken away, my takeaway is Adhidhaivika Arthaha. So that is my takeaway. And it's been a wonderful journey that this workshop is very nicely conducted. And thankful to Professor Iyengar and Sunder ji and Hariharan ji and all those people. And all the people who organized this. And I'm very happy that IKS division has really started this journey. There was none just about 5 years back. That is something really hats off to whoever conceived and whoever is practicing this and whoever is executing the entire thing. So the only suggestion I said is with respect to Lakshya Shastra practitioners. If it is Vastu, somebody who should have built a building. Like Dr. Ganapati Stapati, who built all those things. That kind of this one. Just theory alone will not make it this one. Thank you. Dhanyavada.
Other kinds of analysis, that is true. We generally in IKS tend to be textual and very theoretical. That's what's happening. But the practical issues are equally important to grow those herbs and others, as it is done in the ancient times. Now, with the Ayurvedic people, the Vriksha Ayurveda people, the IKS, the policy makers, they all think about it. Something new things will happen. Slowly, I'm sure it will happen. Next is Geeta.
Namaskar. Myself Geeta, I'm from Bangalore. Basically, as I said in my introduction, my background is in IT profession. I have done management all along in my career. And during COVID, I started learning Sanskrit, and that is how I'm here. That's what I introduced myself. And before coming to the workshop, just the day before, like Shri Abhishek Sharma said, I was like very hesitant whether I should go or not, because all the Sanskrit scholars and scientists, professors are all coming, and whether I will be fit to this workshop or not. But believe me, it's like all these 5 days were like I have just enjoyed every minute of this workshop, and thanks to Iyengar sir. And he made it so comfortable that I'm sure some of my questions were very childish, but still he put all of us in such comfort level and answered all my queries. And his knowledge level, the width and the depth are like from Srishti. And all the, I was like, another concern that I had was, I don't know astronomy only, forget about common era, how am I going to survive in these 5 days? But everything, every minute was just fascinating, and it has given new doors for me to study further and involve myself. Some suggestions that I have is like when we got to know that, okay, yeah, I can attend the workshop. If there can be some like, okay, yeah, as a prerequisite, just go through these documents or some videos or whatever, probably that may help. That is one of the suggestion. And another one for IKS is like, I'm very new to this this whole place itself. Maybe it is happening, but I don't know. So IKS is like, I mean, our knowledge system is so rich, and in corporate sector, I don't see anything, and we have so many soft skill trainings, leadership trainings, and nowhere our Indian knowledge system comes into place. So some of the places, I think many of the professors here are already into the system, like Sanskrit professors and all, but those areas are like, they're totally away from all this. So probably pitching in there would be a very nice thing to see, and also the management stuff and leadership skills also. It's like, I mean, our Shankar ji said Hanuman is the, was the best ambassador. So there are so many such things. I don't see those things happening in management schools or in corporate trainings. Probably incorporating those would really help. That is what is my thinking. Probably if it is happening, then I am sorry about that. And sir, thank you so much for bearing with me. I think I was the one who consumed a lot of question-answer sessions. Thank you so much. And definitely I know that background, there are like so much of work that has happened, and whole of this workshop went flawlessly. So big thanks to all the organizing team, and you all were like, on your toes to from coffee, tea till the workshop material and everything. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
We called a course on pre-siddhāntic astronomy or pre-BCE. I think the participants would have been afraid of it, would have come in. So that is the reason why I put it as a workshop, so that I am going to tell only stories. I mean, at least that is my view. And at least some of these stories will be interesting to the participants, was the idea. The principle, actually, you mentioned about management and all of that. Those are all practical subjects, people have to practice it. I mean, they have to be, the politicians and other officers, they have to practice the management kind of thing. Whereas in a university, in fact, I heard Professor Pandurangi once, in the previous lecture, when we had a meeting, that he was mentioning about Indology, and Indology is a very controversial topic. Then he was mentioning about decolonizing our mind, was mentioning. Now, this decolonizing, how we are going to do it is important in some other sense. Let me not go into the arguments about it. Through stories it can be done. So that was my view, and that is how, this workshop was thought.
Namaste. Okay. First of all, thank you very much for providing me this opportunity to attend this workshop and for this selection. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आपने हमें मौका दिया. सबसे पहली बात जो मैं कहना चाहूँगी, like from my background, as I said, like I'm Dr. Kinjal Patel. Like I have completed my PhD in physics. Especially, I was working on the optoelectronics devices and still working on the smart materials which are useful for the detectors and things. During my maternity leaves, I studied, as per tradition, we read regional texts. In that, during that reading, I just start connecting the dots. See, this is what I'm seeing in physics, and this is what that is in the scripts. And that makes me to hunt that to subjects more and more. And after joining the job again, I just joined the Master of Arts in Hindu Studies from GTU Dharohar. That is online course, but we have to give rigorous examinations like going there. So there I studied all things on the surface levels. But how about the research? That actually I was wondering that, okay, the distance is given, but how they measure the distance? Velocity is given, but how they measure the velocity? How they measure the time? Okay, that all questions were not answered till the satisfaction. Like when you're doing research, you have one satisfaction that, okay, this is what happened exactly. So I tried to look at the text, and during that hunting, I came to know about the research going on in the field. And thank you so much for this IKS division, that I got the sight And then I came to know, okay, these are the research going on. Thank you very much, sir, for making the site very easy to access and the material accessible to us. And then I start attending workshop. This is my second workshop, where I meet the people who are actually doing the research inside this, that how the shlokas are studied and how they are doing research. Like when I came here, like I'm a material scientist basically, so astronomy is again a subject that is known to me, but not that much depth, like I'm like you on the surface. But the sir starts with, he explained the basic terminologies, then the basic calculations, how that things are calculated, and that all helps us in understanding the shlokas when it comes. So I would recommend that you should have one committee that design course that is the similar way this course was propagated. That is understanding of the terminology, how they are calculated, how that calculations are actually implemented when you are looking the shlokas. That was very fascinating stories regarding the like nakshatras, and there was a very nice term that comes as soma. And that was very good discussion, that he says that how you have to take words when you are looking at the shlokas and mantras. And at that time, the views that he has given, that was awesome. That's like first we think about how one can drink so much somas together and cannot omit. But the views that are given, the language of mantras, they are decoded, that was awesome. That was very nice. And one more thing that I would like to appreciate, it is always very nice that you are having a book and author is teaching you the subject. It's a blessing, like, it's a very blissful that you are studying the same subject who writes it. So thank you very much. I like to read the books on different zonals. I appreciate when I meet the author and study the subject from it. I would like to say that there should be one course on Mahasalilam, there should be one course on Parashar Tantram, and would like to come sit here and study it like anything the way you teach. That was awesome. And it is not only that theoretical aspects were done. They have shown us things practically. Like Sunder sir came and we asked silly questions to him too, that how this happened, how you go back, all that things. And actually, as one person said, that we opened Stellarium yesterday night and we see, okay, Gemini is there, as Sunder sir said. And that actually happened. In night, I'm at friend's home. I forcefully install Stellarium to that teenage daughter's mobile too and show that see, that is happening. So that practical approach helps us a lot. Even research tools that are available and that are compatible, that is much more important in learning the things. Even the best part is the choosing of the people over here. Like I know it's a selection base. The versatile people that I met people from the Matha, from the Ayurveda background, from Vanaspati, from psychology, from ISRO, from Vedas, for astros, and everybody gives a different aspect. Like one person is studying soil based on, okay, if this is the case, this is a good land. One person is saying, okay, this is how the rain falls. And that all aspects add on the views. Like, we see diamond with the different angles, you will see different things. You have put all the cameras all around and we are able to see the 3-dimension views. Okay, this is what happening with the mantras there and things. So that helps a very lot. So thank you very much. And when I was reading these things first time, I feel like it's some codes are there that needs to get cracked. And yeah, this workshop helps us in cracking that ancient codes. And thank you so much. One more thing that I would like to add as a suggestion and one as an appreciation, food and teas and coffees were awesome. Like I am traveling from Gujarat, so people scared me that what you will have, what you will do. But no, I don't face any difficulty. It was highly appreciated. A suggestion, like, please do give us such opportunities. Like I know IKS is developing reading materials right now, having book projects. So please do give us opportunity to listen more and more from authors that we can enrich our knowledge and view the systems. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The viewpoint of a teacher that you brought out. true. Well, the points are all fine, but Mahasalilam and Parashara Tantra, they can be taught as a course, and they're like the books. But the introduction to that is really Vedic, you know. And if you have read Professor Pandurangi's foreword in Mahasalilam, you would see how many special Shastra concepts are involved in that. And those concepts, they have become very kind of Shastraic and studied in Sanskrit universities and Gurukulas and religious institutions. Now, that had to be combined with the common people. All that concepts have to come to the common people, and that is only through the Vedic astral pictures, you know, the Jauh, Antariksha and Prithvi kind of thing, and the practices that we have as Hindus in the day-to-day affairs and in all over India. So it is a combination of the Vedic concepts, esoteric concepts, not going to the Shastraic, but coming to the common people. It is a very tough area. And I am happy that Professor Pandurangi is here, because they are the people who can bring this to the common people. Whereas we work in universities, we go in some particular direction. But what she mentioned is very correct, and thank you so much for that. And IKS division, of course, now with the new NEP and starting of the IKS activity, new things are happening. We do hope with all this churning, something new will happen for propagating our civilization and our culture, maybe to some extent, the decolonization of the mind that you are telling. So next we go to Srimati Mangalam Ramaswamy.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. I am Dr. Mangalam. I am coming from Coimbatore Institute of Technology, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. So first and foremost, I would like to thank Professor Iyengar sir for the structural presentation, and most of the participants over here, they knew Sanskrit, but for me it's very new. But sir made sure, even after every lecture, sir used to ask me whether you could follow, whether you are able to understand. So I used to say, sir, I am able to understand what is the physics, what is the science behind everything, but the terminology I could not follow. But sir suggested me to do a course on Sanskrit. Definitely, sir, I am searching for it. And the references and the examples sir gave was very nice. And whenever, as one of the participants told, whenever there was a very huge or heavy topic, sir used to give examples so that all the participants could understand it easily. And I would like to thank the team CAHC for making us feel home. I always felt a home away from home. Thank you so much. And I would suggestion for this IKS division, sir, if you could organize a customized training program integrating this Vedic concepts with the contemporary quantum physics and mathematics, that will be very helpful, because I am in teaching profession for 20 years. So as a teacher, I always think not only sharing knowledge is my responsibility, but also it is my responsibility to share the roots of where do I come from. I should know about the ancestral thing, everything. So I would be happy if IKS considering to organize a workshop by integrating the contemporary quantum physics, cosmology, everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I should thank you also, because you mentioned that you are going to learn Sanskrit when you go back. You know, it is a very important thing. It looks like that, but I have found that people get, first of all, put off if we say that there is going to be some Sanskrit. That should slowly change. And in the IKS activities, there can be some simple things, apart from other subjects, that people who do not know Sanskrit, At least the terminologies can be told. Because in all our languages, Sanskrit words are there. We can easily prepare a list. She is from Tamil Nadu. She doesn't have background even in the Devanagari script. But words are same. Mangalam, Rama, Swami, they are all same. And we can easily communicate. And that is how, we have gone through this course. And this, I think, okay, I think the message is taken. Mr. Pravesh Vyas. Pravesh Vyas has left, okay. I think maybe they had to catch a Delhi flight or something. Parivrajika Asakta Purana.
Namo Namah to everybody. Just like Sharma ji and Didi, even I was in two minds, will I be able to adjust there? Will I be able to understand? But I mean, these 5 days, it's like, just like the government has a 5-year plan project. So these 5 days are like, the next 5 years and 25 years of my life. During our college days, sir, our teacher used to say that, I'm not going to teach you any text. I want you to learn the language so that you are able to handle everything by yourself. So even here, this, art of interpretation, this science of hermeneutics, to be able to understand, our childhood stories in a new, different light. I think we must have, gone through Dhuma Jyoti Salila, this thing in 50 times almost in our academic life. We know how rainfall takes place, but at least for myself, I could never connect it and, tell it to my students. But I think now the next time I'll go through the text, maybe I'll refer to this, this concept. And while going through Mahasalilam, it was such a proud moment to know that, in 1400, 1600 BC, such texts, were in the society. And I was ashamed of myself that, being Indians, we do not know about all this. So I just have two suggestions. The first one would be, if we could get these lecture notes a bit before, I was always in a hurry at night to go through them so that I'm able to understand the classes in a better way. And the second one is, maybe down the line, just like IIT Kanpur, I believe, we can maybe even think about the IKS honors. Because, there is, we listen, we experience that, how much interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary things are important. But intradisciplinary, is lacking. Because, when we study the postgraduate, so we are asked to kind of find a stream for ourselves. So, but then, for example, if I take darshana, so I kind of get divorced from the rest of the streams. So this intradisciplinary, inter-references within the text, within the Sanskrit field itself, I think that was very refreshing, and I'm going to take that back home. And thank you very much to kind of select me, this odd one out here. Thank you very much.
Taking trouble to come from Calcutta with all her important responsibilities there. And I should, if she doesn't mind, I read her name wrongly first. I read it as Ashakta Prana. I said, you Sashakta, you are not. Then she said, no, it is Asakta. Then of course, everything makes sense. So thank you, Parivraj, particularly because the Vridagargya Jyotisha, she mentioned about the dating and all that, and Kritika also, Kanyopanayanam Kuryat, that goes into Harita, then says Brahmavadinyaha, Sadhyo Vadvaha and all that. And we have even to this day Brahmavadinis. That is something very great in our country. Thank you so much, ma'am. Dr. Rajat Vasudev Murthy.
Namaste Bhai. My name is Rajat from Bangalore itself. Till recently, I was teaching at an engineering college. Currently, I'm at Saraswatam working on ancient Indian mathematics. So, Professor Iyengar's lecture probably I've attended for the first time maybe around 15 years back when he had given a talk in IISc on the dating of Mahabharata. From then, off and on, I've been following his talks mostly. In spite of that, in this workshop, I've got a lot of new information, especially regarding Karana and Yoga, which earlier I thought maybe they were later concepts, but so what I'm trying to say is even over 15 years, in spite of following many of his lectures, I've got a lot of new concepts even in this workshop, even after such a long time. So for that, firstly, I'm grateful for having selected me to this workshop, and I've learnt a lot. And then maybe as a suggestion, probably I feel it's a very difficult topic, difficult area to cover. A lot of, as earlier speakers have mentioned, interdisciplinary, so many aspects are coming here. But still, if I may request, if it is possible to probably organize it a little better, where maybe, at least for me, my background in astronomy or Sanskrit even is not very formal. It has been informal with the discussion with friends, maybe attending a few talks, maybe workshops like these here and there. So the background is not very strong. It is like hazy or informal, that kind of thing. So probably when we are having a workshop, especially for a general audience, can we have a better structure is what I keep thinking. Maybe some Sanskrit concepts, maybe some yajnas, some stories from the Veda, if they can be put in a certain sequence, so that as we go along in the workshop, maybe everybody is on the same page. That is all my submission is. Once again, gratitude to the entire team of CAHC for the wonderful organization. Namaste.
Next will be Mr. Raju Kumar.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Raju Kumar. I'm assistant professor in physics, Deshbandhu College, University of Delhi. Being a student of physics from BSc, MSc, and PhD, I was knowing a bit of astronomy, but yes, I was not knowing of the ancient connection. And maybe that's the reason is the education system, or I've never been on those places to learn. So accidentally, thanks to organizing team to select me, but I was not in hope, but I got lots of information, the connection between the Indian ancient texts, and obviously the scientific temperament that we used to miss in the lectures in other places. The sir has started from the text, how we can interpret with the scientific proof and the scientific temperament in order to justify the correct value of those texts. The stories, how to interpret in Puranas and Vedas texts. So I learned those things very, very nicely, and also I got lots of information about Dhruva and then comets and other stuff. Furthermore, the Sunder sir has given the lecture about the simulation and all. Since I also work with those, I'm experimentalist, so without seeing, it doesn't excite me much. So Sunder sir has shown me the very beautiful simulation and all. So it's like looking through my eyes. So it's very nice, and also at the end is the very good with very good music. The rain music came, and it's very excited with the rainfall. This lecture, that music is very nice and set the aroma and set the in Hindi mein it's like mahal bana dena, it's like that. So thank you, sir, and thanks a lot. One suggestion, if I may, even I want like this ancient text connection in the astronomy, astrophysics paper also. So anyway, I'm going to suggest in my University of Delhi people also, the Department of Physics, to add, to give the connection. But still, if IKS and NEP can do design or reformulate the course in order to give the connection with the ancient text, so that will be very good. Thank you.
Namaste and good afternoon. I am Ram Mohan from Bangalore. By profession, I am a software engineer, and by passion, I am an amateur astronomer. So I am one of the privileged few who have attended the 2018 workshop of Professor Iyengar. So from then on, the association still continues. And now, being an amateur astronomer and studying the sky practically and also documenting what happens in the sky in a formal way, we were thinking that as a concept, it has come only from the western part of the globe. And knowing the Indian connections to it and the dimensions always gives a very different kind of a concept, even when we start explaining this to the general public or the students as part of any kind of outreach that we do as activities. Now, with these kind of courses or the courses that I attended with 2018, it fortifies the knowledge that I gained, and it gives credibility that our own ancients have done a lot of work, and it's our responsibility to continue to do research and carry on with this heritage and work a lot more on that. Sir, from that point of view, thank you so much. And in this course, from the previous to this one, I have only been seeing that a lot more additions have happened, a lot more new dimensions have come in, and a lot more new ideas get cultivated in my mind to work on a few parts as well. So from that point of view, thank you once again, sir, and to everybody in CAHC for including me once again. And as a request, if I can be of any use computationally, that's what is my part of the work, IT and computation, and giving the practical touch to certain parts of the theoretical aspects, I'll be very happy to do and help. And for the IKS division, my request is also, now this is Jyotisha part has come in, another request is in the next iteration, if a little bit of the Kalpa part can be introduced. Some parts are kind of common in both of those, and if that can also be enhanced as part of the knowledge system, and that would be very helpful, because the rituals, people do understand, but they don't understand the science behind the certain parts of the rituals. So probably that would be very helpful to include. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You would have seen yesterday or day before yesterday his presentation. He is one man who has his own planetarium, observatory in his house, and that is one of the reasons why we interact and talk. Reason being, we all know our stars, our Janma Nakshatras we know. That is from the Panchanga or the Jataka, not in the sky. But he can show in the sky what is our Janma Nakshatra. In fact, Professor Ganti Murthy, there should be some practical exercises where people can see in the sky itself what it means. And because of his thing he has invested and developed, his services will be very useful for this kind of IKS activity. That is one of the reasons why we work together. And he gives also some talks outside for children and others, where it can be seen in the sky, actually. And the comets and the asteroids that you read in the newspapers, atlas and other things, they can also be hunted and seen. At least that will give some kind of a feeling, particularly from the youngsters. And that is how in the Vedic we find so much of references to the celestial objects, because they had seen them. So if now this generation also tries to see outside, then the two will get in some manner combined psychologically, and the Vedic culture can go further. That is roughly the idea. It's not an ideal, but we have to try for that. Mr. Sai Kumar Reddy.
I'm a PhD student at Department of History. So having background in history and having been associated with IKS, my view of IKS started in 4 September it seems, when I met sir in a workshop in Hyderabad, and how he explained us about the Bharatiya Drushti and Bharatiya Paramparā. From then I started looking into IKS, and not well versed with Sanskrit, I faced difficulties in between, and then I started taking up some internships, projects, and I landed here. So I'm looking forward to learning more concepts in IKS and taking probably some projects or research ideas. Currently, I'm working on water technology sidology, and I'm also looking at it from the perspective of how water and astronomy and how seasonal changes affect water construction, water body construction, and these things. So, from this perspective, this workshop is very useful to me, and I have no suggestions. I hope just this legacy continues and we could bear our fruits. Thank you.
Next is Ms. Sana Pushkar Rawat.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm really scared of talking in public, so pardon me if I am a little too informal in my talk. So as Sir asked us to share our feedback and suggestion, I would just limit my speech to starting with the feedback. Starting with something I think most of us would agree to, that the food was amazing. But aside from that, I do not have a background in astronomy, so this was really something new for me. It's as distant, the topic is as distant to me as the stars are from the planet. But being a student of linguistics, what was most fascinating for me was that Sanskrit is such a beautiful language. Like, the more you learn about it, the more fascinated you get, because a verse you would have seen 1,000 number of times, and it will just take one person to interpret it in such a way that it will make you question your knowledge of the subject. And that is what Sir did in the first initial days, where he showed us the astronomical knowledge within the Rigvedic hymns that we have come across so many times, but we didn't even think about it the way that he did. I heard so many people say that it's a limitation that they do not understand Sanskrit. But apart from that, I would also like to share that IKS is just not knowledge within Sanskrit language as well. There is so much knowledge within our own languages that I think is not even tapped as much as the work is being done in Sanskrit. So that's also something that we can take up, look what is the knowledge shared within even the tribal communities which are not documented. That is something that we can work upon. And lastly, not just a suggestion but a request from Sir, because this is a subject that would need people to have knowledge in both Sanskrit and astronomy, and since I would not be able to contribute as much as I would want to, can I share the notes that you gave us with people I know who would be like really wanting to know about the subject and can actually do something concrete within this field? If you permit, that will be really nice. That's it. Thank you.
Many times, and I have discussed this also, and I talk about these stories also with people. It is something which, of course, the greater people than me to talk about Sanskrit and how it should be propagated and all that. But some amount of Sanskrit helps all of us. The knowledge of the language, at least I may not be able to read, write, or whatever it is, but if the nuances can be understood, because we are inside the culture, the issue is this: whether we are looking at our history, our background from inside or outside. If we are looking at it from inside, our Indian languages, our mother tongue, and Sanskritam is the real root. Even though today I am talking in English because of various other reasons, but Sanskritam would be very, very helpful. So in some manner we have to cultivate and promote it. Even though we may not become great Pandits, that is another matter. Okay, next would be
sharing of notes. She had asked whether she could share the notes.
Notes have been already given, right? What?
Whether it can be shared with others who are interested.
Oh, the lecture notes which are given, whether that can be shared? Yes. Well, it is your property. Why do you ask? We have not put any copyright reserved or whatever, and much of what is there is already on the web, all that work, and also on our CAHC website. There is no thing. I thought maybe she asked about sharing the slides. No, not about that. But somebody asked about sharing slides. Maybe nobody is interested in it. That's a different matter. If there is interest, then we'll come to that later. Next is Saurabh More.
Namaste everyone. I am Saurabh More from Pune, and before coming here, I was kind of directionless and clueless because I have completed my master's in physics now. I have cleared some exams as well. But what should I do next with this? I knew that I want to do research in ICAS, but it is such a vast ocean. So where should I start? But now attending this, listening to sir, I have got an idea about in which direction I have to go. As he said, Puranic astronomy is not very well explored yet. Some people should. And sir, I assure you that I will look into it. I will study it. I will try my best to do that. As he said, I agree with him that I won't thank him with words. I will thank him with the work that I take forward. And we studied Mahasalilam and all these things, and I would like to say that he is the Mahasalilam of knowledge, and we are all Agasthyas just trying to drink that knowledge. And yes, all of us have gotten we agree that we did not take 100% of it, but everyone has got some percentage, maybe 10%, 50%. And thanks for providing the notes and books as well. So now when we go back, we will study those things again, and then we'll be able to understand it more and more with many rereads. Some suggestions. I know that I'm very young and these are very intellectual people, so I'm a bit hesitant giving suggestions. But from my generation's perspective, I would like to suggest to Murthy sir that the social media platforms is like a curse for our generation. Like everyone is just focused on that small box. They are not ready to come out of it. So maybe we can post some reels and everything, small stories, formats to get them interested in this. Because, interested in ICAS. Like what Anupriya is doing in getting them interested in this, so that they start exploring it more. Like even in this workshop, I got to know through the ICAS social media Instagram platform. I saw the poster there and I registered there itself. So that was one suggestion. Second, as sir said, the slides, it would be very great if we can get all the slides, because there was some like the structured manner in which they were put, so that would be great to get the slides as well. And another suggestion was not for the team but for all of us. We have got a platform now, we have the WhatsApp group, so it would be very great if we stay connected on that. We do not let it fade away. Everyone is doing some work in, like everyone's field is different, but as he said, it is an integrated knowledge system. We can connect it with each other's work. So whatever work you are doing, you can keep posting it, keep posting new things. We all can learn new things. So that's my suggestion for all of us. Thank you very much.
We have already promised so much for IKS, you know. So our confidence level increases with that. About slides you mentioned, I have no objection. I'm willing to share my slides, mine. But Sundar and of course Hariharan, you can directly, it is up to them. But I have one condition. Whoever wants my slides, I will give only a PDF, you know. I will get a printout and PDF, whether it's 300 pages or whatever. But I should get an email request individually, whoever wants my slides of this. You send me an email, okay? That's sufficient. Individually, I will send to each one of you all. Then what you do is your responsibility. Now, next we go to Ms. Shivani Sharma. She has left already. Katyayani, she has left. Oh, the Delhi people have left. Mr. Snehit.
Good evening, everybody. Snehit here from Bangalore. So by profession, I was also in IT for about a decade, post which now I'm doing full-time farming. So astronomy has always been my interest in my childhood days. Like Ram said, I'm one of the privileged members to be of the part of the course in 2018 as well. So that interest has been cultivated and still grows on. When it comes to what has happened for the last 5 days, the kind of information that has gone into my head is overwhelming. So it's not been easy. So I have to go back, have to research myself to understand what it is. But I would like to use this information as we do a lot of outreach programs to children across Karnataka about astronomy, how to use the telescopes, how to see through telescopes, part of which we give them talks about introduction to astronomy. I want to integrate some of this information, that rich history and culture, so that there will be some kind of interest, spark, curiosity, and they can learn about all the Vedics and whatever we have learned over here. That's one of the things. Coming to suggestion, I just have one suggestion, sir. Like you said, any manuscript or anything that we want to research, 4 or 5 people put together. So probably when we are such a team members, when the next workshop happens, we can just create team of 4 or 5 members, one small part of the manuscript where they can research about themselves, they can discuss, and the next day when we come in, we can just discuss as a group or come present it, so we know how the thought process works. So we are so diversified here, there are so many people who want to research, and this could be a stepping where they can learn how to research and how to get out of it. That's my suggestion, sir. Thank you.
Groups are working already. And if some more groups get formed, it's all the same, good. And we also have a Google group, that is the CAHC Friends group. Somebody wants to join that group, you are welcome, so that things can be exchanged directly with my colleagues and others. Privately also there are groups, at least in Bangalore, like, Dr. Shankar Rajaraman runs some groups where the poems are studied and discussed and all that. So on astronomy, Vedic astronomy, even the Vedic studies, if such groups can be organized, that will be very nice. Right now, whatever is happening in the Vedic groups, Vedic study groups, is either mostly Indology, that is the Western kind of Indology which is happening, or it is going into the Vedantas, different Vedantas, the 3 streams and so on and so forth. On this kind of observational features, which will be common to all the people, and where the stories have originated, and there can be so many new stories if only somebody goes through this text from this angle, that is how people observed and how they absorbed that information. There are upakhyanas are plenty, in fact, all through. Not just the Samhita, but in the Brahmana. For every ahuti that is given, there is a story. For Agni, there is a story. Varuna, there is a story. Everyone, there is a story. That story itself is actually a codified knowledge. But the story will be interesting to the common people. So that should be worked out.
Actually, Sir, Veeranarayana Pandurangi, he's the one who started Bharatiya Vidyat Parishad. Everybody can join the Google group, Bharatiya Vidyat Parishad. Yeah, where it is not the Western style Indology, it is Asmakam Shastriya paramparā.
Next is Mr. Sridhar.
Good day to all of you. It was 5 days of condensed knowledge coming for me, and made a few notes, so please permit me to go through that. Few things which impressed me a lot. First, from the Jain University, for the Chancellor to come here and show his personal attention, focus, and guiding this entire team. And in spite of his travel, to come here and motivate all of us, to enthuse all of us to study and benefit from it. It's a very, very great sign. I really thank that it is happening in such an auspicious from focus on knowledge. I really appreciate Jain University coming forward in that direction. And all the stalwarts, Ganti Murthy sir, Pandurangi sir, all of them, the other part, to have a feedback session where all the experts are sitting and listening to it, This is probably the first one of its kind I am seeing. There is always a feedback session, but all the experts sitting and listening to it, it's a great learning for me also, that a format can be done in that way. The entire workshop, as sir also mentioned during his talks, there are people who are steeped in Vedas, who think the Vedas are 100% right and there is nothing to be done beyond that, you better believe it and take it. And there is the scientific community which says, even if it is in the Vedas or not, science is science, Veda is Veda, never the twain shall they meet. And Iyengar sir, you took the very, very pragmatic approach to take all the good things from the Western side, not criticizing just for the sake of criticizing, looking at it in a very neutral way, and also taking all the essence of our scriptures coming into this whole thing. To give an introduction before I make the next set of comments, when I came in here, for me, my background is, yes, I know Sanskrit for a few years. I know Vedas. I exhibited my ignorance in front of all of you. I know some bit of computers. But my knowledge of astronomy was such that I thought, okay, there are 9 planets in the in the Western system. There are Navagrahas are there, 9 matching well. So that is the level from which I come. And the only question I had was, okay, if 9 and 9 are there, Surya and Soma are the first 2. So maybe we thought the sun and the moon are planet number 1, planet number 2, and Earth is not even present in the Navagrahas, this thing. So what is happening? So where is this 9 and 9 even matching? That is the place from which I was coming here. And as sir also said, Rahu and Ketu, the only story we know is Rahu and Ketu are the Bhagavatam story where the gets chopped off. Ketu being comets, didn't even imagine. The other part also from where I come from, yes, Janma Nakshatra and all of that, we look at it from an astrology sense. To really say that a nakshatra is a star which is in the sky. And similarly, when you look at Agastya in this thing, we say he's a sage. To say that Agastya is a star, and all of this, these are all huge insights. And when I now look at all these stories, I think sir has made it very clear that don't look only from the stories and get clouded by the knowledge. There is the other aspect of it. And when you divide it by time, then there is different layers of meaning which comes out. That is one of the biggest learnings for me from my naive place of astronomy, what I knew. So it's a great learning for me, especially having 2 children who know Sanskrit and still say the entire Vedas are mumbo jumbo. So my first and foremost request, while of course we touched the cutting edge of all the research in terms of Mahasalilam and all these tests, if we can have a basic introduction to astronomy from Vedic standpoint, where what you covered before you entered into Mahasalilam and all of this, that introduction part, if that can be made as an introductory book for children, I would think that will be a huge value, and it helps parents who want ourselves as well as our children to at least get some insights of what our scriptures contain. Because with all these multi-layered meanings coming over time and over polymorphism or whatever we say in our this thing, right? That will be of a very, very great, this thing is my first submission. First feedback, very selfish feedback. We are very honored to have books given by you. If we can all stand in a line and get an autograph from you, sir, that will be a selfish feedback from all of us. Already took, sorry, then I am outdated, but I am outdated, okay, sorry. Okay, so now coming to the feedback part of it, the video which has been taken, I know the lecture notes obviously already made this thing. for our perusal, if this video can be made available, because when I came in, my knowledge, I was parallelly trying to understand the basic as well as what you were trying to tell. Now that both have reached a particular level, now if I go through the video once more, that is when many of the key concepts which you have highlighted inside will get more reinforced. If that is available, made available, that will be of great help. On the format of this entire thing, given that we are most of us are a diverse audience, I think, sir, you made a comment on that already. In the structure of it, a first half an hour, 1 hour where an introduction, because as I said, the place where I came from, I did not even know what nakshatra and tara are different, or star, and I don't even know what is ecliptic. Only at the after Sundar sir showed that stellarium, and then I went to the CAHC lab where you could turn that and I could get some sense of it. I am able to relate some of this. So, initial introduction for a layman for half an hour, 1 hour, and then the same content as before will be helpful in my view. Another this thing, while we have covered a whole lot of references during the talk, as a final summary for a person who wants to go into this, what is the order of books in which we have to read for a layman in astronomy? If that can be, I don't know, IKS or workshop material, whatever you want to say, in the order of how we should go about approaching to do a structured reading, that will be very helpful. One other aspect, two more points. Once, while we were extremely privileged to hear Iyengar sir speak about all of these things, purely from a selfish viewpoint, sir had to take so much strain and do most of the talks, only from that angle, not from any knowledge side of it. If maybe 1 or 2 other research organizations or experts were also brought in, sir might not need to talk from morning to evening for 4 to 6 sessions in a day. From that point alone, maybe another 1 or 2 experts can be brought in to give and sir can take 1 or 2 hours of rest and then go to the next topic, only from that point. One more angle which I would have loved for it to be covered, I know we have covered a whole range of topics. How did our texts influence the world view of astronomy, and how did the world view of astronomy influence the our view of astronomy, right? So you alluded to various points when you told about Kendra, and I think some of the words you were telling this came from the Greek or Arabic and all that kind of things. But if there is a way to say, this is what we contributed, this is what they, again it can be our view on it, there can be contentious views on that. What did we contribute, what did they contribute, how does it help to get the world view as of today? And how would we have got that knowledge, right? See, while we are trying to showcase, yes, we knew all these things at that age, would a pure measurement of shadows on a consistent day-by-day basis?
Sridhar, you have said so many things. I think a response is required from us.
Sorry, yes, I think I'm done, sir. Thank you very much.
The thing is, what you are mentioning, they are all important. I don't, please. They are all very important, no doubt. But there is no history of science study in this country. Nobody studies history of science in this country. And what he was mentioning about interaction between the cultures, and this was brought in that. And in fact, one Professor Bill Mack had come here about 15 days back, from China. And he went to Berlin, and there in Berlin, his book on foreign astral influences in China was released. Because there is an international group of historians of astronomy who are working. Even though I don't work with them, they know me and we are in contact with that. That kind of activity itself is not in this country. And nobody is interested in science, history of science. And if it is history of science in some of the places, it is the leftist approach, because the history of science starts Egypt, Greece, Rome. That is the kind of history which is developed. This is the Western science, how it is developed. Now here, the effort is how it grew indigenously, and your response to bringing other experts into this, so that I can take a little bit of rest. Thank you so much for saying that. Professor M.D. Srinivas came specifically for that. And who are the other experts? You tell me. I will call them next time, and I will invite you also, who can talk about pre-siddhāntic astronomy, a Vedic astronomy, not astrology, but Vedic astronomy. There are people who can talk about Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa, Vyakarana, Sankhya, Seshwara Sankhya, Nirishwara Sankhya, everything. There are people. Who is there to talk about Vedic astronomy, sir? So this is a thing which you have to fill up. That is why this was not a course, this was a workshop. And your other comment about there should have been a list of references and all that, I appreciate your comment, because I am from Indian Institute of Science, where we conduct courses, workshops, symposium, colloquium, conferences. There are different structures. In courses, of course, we do give, because it is for students. Now, in a workshop, the students have to work, or the participants have to work. Somebody wanted an assignment, so now I give an assignment. Please prepare a list of references, mainly from the class notes, and add something from the Google, and also you are forming some study groups anyway. Please fill up and send a copy to us. We will also benefit by that. Thank you so much. Mr. Subramaniam.
Good evening, all of you. It is very difficult to tell at the fact end, because most of the people would have told whatever has to be told. So I really feel blessed to get the opportunity to attend this program, and to be in a, in a galaxy of stars. I feel like a firefly. Actually, all of you people are either PhDs, or many of them are Sanskrit scholars, and many people are double PhDs also. They are they are doing MSc, PhD in physics and all. Then they are doing, then they have done Sanskrit also, MA and some PhD also. So, and to add to all this, like someone told, we are in a cosmic ocean of Professor Iyengar. He himself is a Mahasalila. So I feel blessed to be attending his lecture, because he has made such a vast subject, which is, I will say it's such a big exhaustive subject of Indian, that Vedic studies. And there are certain things which are really the first time I came to know that the shifting of the polar star. I was just thinking that the equinox, this thing, that axis is moving, but I was not able to visualize it. And Mr. Sunder made a very good presentation, which made it easier actually, which is very, he took back some us to around 4,000, 5,000 years back, and showed the star, how the axis, pole axis makes circle. And there is a name also, I think he shared with me, that is the northern ecliptic pole, right? No? So that is still the Draco constellation. And then I learned about this 3,339 Vishwa Devas, which this number was always baffling. People say that 33 Devas and 33,000 Devas and so many things. This number 339, he gave the reason. He made a very good analysis of the Sanskrit shlokas and brought it out. And the rainfall prediction in ancient India, it was a very exhaustive exercise. And Then how the ancients used to measure the time. In daytime they had that, yantra, gatika and all that. At night how to do it. And there were, mantras which had proper design meters so that you get the right duration. And this is also a very remarkable thing. Actually, this gives an idea why our mantras are so elaborate. And even he showed a picture of, that yajna, how the bricks are arranged. One is, that is in a circle, then one is a semicircle, one is a circle, and all the areas are equal. And the distance between them, they also are, he has plotted that number of eclipses that take place. And they found that 18-hour cycle, it is already there, but he had analyzed and he has, explained it in a very beautiful fashion. It is very difficult for us to just think that, okay, 18-year Rahu period, like that only we know, we don't know the details. And that Shukras, Pancha, Konas and those things, which were that yantra and all, that was very new. These all, I will say that this particular aspect we should, it's a good awakening for us, I will say. There is like a big bang on our head to get awakened. And thanks to this IKS program, all those organizers, they have done an excellent job, be it the catering part, be it the, organizing it or guiding us, giving the map and directions. And it's an excellent job, I will say. And my personal apologies to Professor Iyengar, sir. Sorry, sir, I think I might have asked a lot of silly questions, but as I told, my knowledge is very limited. In my enthusiasm, I might have asked of course, I had a lot of doubts to clarify. So, sorry if I asked some questions which are not actually, which are very silly. So, only one small suggestion that, already people have told, we can have a forum in which, we can have a healthy exchange of, progressive ideas with the focus on the same subject which we are dealing. Thank you very much.
The Pūrṇaprajña he was mentioning, that is all in the books. That is all already people, our ancestors have practiced it, That's all what I presented in front of you. I didn't do anything new. Photographs, of course, I have taken and showed. Anyway, thank you so much. And next is Mr. Vasudevan.
Sir, shall I go the other Subramanya? Namaste, I am Vasudevan from Bangalore, and I'll straightly go to the suggestions and I won't take much time. One thing I was wondering is, in an activity of such a nature, the acquiring of manuscripts is a huge task. It's a Herculean task. So if IKS maybe, if they can request you or suggest you to, if you can procure or help in acquiring manuscripts, maybe the further activity would be easier. That's one thing. And this is the first time I met Professor Iyengar, and a couple of words about him. One is his clarity of thought. I was mesmerized. His clarity of thought, his clarity in expression, and his enthusiasm is contagious. So we are happy to carry some of the enthusiasm along with us. And sir, and I come from a engineering and well as Sanskrit background. And if I'm able to assist you or help you out in translating manuscript, anything, I'll be very happy to be associated with you, sir. Thank you so much. And it was a wonderful time meeting so many people of variety of background, diverse backgrounds. Thank you so much.
Thank you. If somebody is interested in translating, we welcome. We can help them into any Indian language, the book can be translated. About the clarity of thought, you would also get as you get older, don't you?
We couldn't see that. By the time I come there and start talking, when you have a name plus V, you definitely know from A to S there will be a straight road, at S there will be a speed breaker. Half a name should be S. But how many of you know how you got your name? If I have to ask you, tell me about yourself, you tell our names. But how many of us know how we got our names? Somebody else kept our name and we have shoulder it on us, and we keep that as a pride. But what we forget is, we are born in a star and we die in a star. Subjects that we hate in school is history, geography, science, taught, and even Sanskrit. I learned Sanskrit for 8 years by mistake. I learned about Shakuntala's hips and other things, but forgot that it's a language of emotion. What's the first vowel in Hindi? What's the first vowel in Tamil? Shabda. What are you all sleeping for? Already Samosa is waiting. Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. Both hands up. Both hands up. Sir, hands up, sir. They're all doing, sir. And when you get up in the morning, what do we do in the morning? Do. Dude, I mean, what do you do in my face? Start. 1, 2, 3, go. Nicely, sound effects. A Kashmiri also does the same thing. A South Indian also does the same thing. And the same thing is with astronomy, because across the country we look at the stars, but we have no idea of the stars because we have not been taught it in an emotion to school. Katha paramparā is what I practice because masala is what we like. Plain dal and rice will we eat? Yes or no? So the masala is something where masala is something, what will stay will stay, what you understand is what you understand, what we don't understand is a journey. But what we forget is, if we don't like it, we stop it. Nobody told us, read it again, look at it again. That is one. Second is Sthala Purana. There are 3 ways that we look at any content in India, especially the origin story. One is Sthala Purana, one is the folklore, one is the history, which is facts. History, 2 minutes you will listen, after that puss. Sthala Purana is respect, because it's bhakti. Folklore is something that comes because of somebody storified it. All these 3 exist in different forms, and all these 3 make something emotional. And I work with children, I work with adults. Today, facts are beautiful, but how do you make it emotional? The only thing that's permanent in life is death. We are born, we're going to die, in between the star is going to move. That's all. But we all have a birthdays, we go do prayer in a temple. The pujari also doesn't know what he's doing, we also don't know what we are doing. And that is what I want to bring into my practice of Katha Parampara when I'm saying, once upon a time, what time? Morning or evening? Even that is what it is. And that's what I'm going to apply in my art form, because I'm a practitioner, I'm not an academician. I studied mechanical by mistake, MBA by mistake. I am one of the very few people in India who have an animal rights law. And I left 2017, somebody told me surrender. So I don't work, I live a life. In a country like India, why should a Sunday and a Monday be different? If we're telling that, oh, Sunday is I'm going to sleep, Monday is office, it's a mistake in our life. Change it. And that is Indian knowledge system, because if IKS is not about telling, it's a practice where every day is a star. Sundays and Mondays was what we created. I'll leave it there. The last that I want to say is, astronomy was created by sensory, which means we felt the sun, we felt the moon, we felt the crow drinking water in a pond and created thirsty crow. The only thing I missed in the workshop was feeling the sun and the moon, feeling the stars. Because in a country like India, we also hold the past beautifully. We are a living tradition. We know the future, we know the past, but sometimes we are missing the past because today walking barefoot in Kaban Park is a 15,000 rupees workshop. But today in a country like India, we can drink coconut from coconut and a Tetra Pak. But I'm afraid tomorrow we will not see the coconut. Because today we can see in stellarium, we can see in a telescope, but we can sit in Kaban Park and see the sun. So only thing I wish is, maybe one day we could have gone 6 o'clock and seen 3 hours of the stars moving. And then if sir would have, sitting in the Kaban Park, we have done this, I think it would have been more emotional. That's the only thing I missed. Thank you, Tata, bye-bye.
Good afternoon, everyone. I won't take much of your time. So I'm Subramanian. I come from IT background, like a few of us. I've been following Professor Naran Iyengar, MD Srinivas, and Ram Subramanian, the offline videos, YouTube videos, out of my personal interest. And when this opportunity presented itself, that 2 of them are going to be here, and I jumped into it. I'll in fact begin with the request or feedback. No, this has been excellent, deep immersion, and extremely valuable knowledge we have gained and great learning. But people like us, commoners who are not in academia, also have interest and very interested in taking this legacy forward. There's a window of opportunity to be part of these workshops extended to us. That will be grateful in future. For example, this one I got connected to Hariharan and requested whether I can join, and he easily accommodated. That turned out to be, really, really useful. And so you mentioned about, for Sridhar's comment, Vedic astronomy, who else can be there? So we saw two planets, you as a Shukracharya and MD sir is always like on the horizon, right? He is a Mercury, and both of you under single roof. Mr. Ramasubramanian had been here. Probably it will be a planetary, parade here, right? That's something for the next workshop where we can have diverse subjects and we get to hear from all of you. And for me personally, a key takeaway is, there is 1 in million or 1 in billion is enough to carry forward the legacy. I've been interacting with few of the fellow participants in terms of relevance of this workshop and what do we do about it. And I am thoroughly impressed by, a few of their ideas where they said they'll go back and enthuse with the students, so on and so forth. Me not coming from academia, so I am an avid heritage lover. I do conduct temple architecture studies, walks with public and children, school children. And I make it a point, because the point where I started off was with Bhadra Ganita. So magic squares and how to build that. I make sure I impart that, I'm not the creator, I share whatever I learnt with the children and alike, adults also. So similarly, if there is an opportunity, every opportunity I get, I share this, and I think that's very important in carrying forward this, legacy. Professor Iyengar and Srinivas, like they are 1 in million and billion. And what we can do, just like Ram, how we did, in terms of putting it across and showing it, taking it to the galaxy. I think one is enough to make a difference. And I think we all here, the key learning is what are we going to do about it, other than appreciating, and we get the knowledge, that's perfect, but it's our duty. And that's how, this oral tradition has come all along. And I think it's our duty to do our part. And I'm sure all of us here in this room, even though there's a small number, we will do. And I like, the last bit I'd like to add, one slide, I'll stay with me is what Dr. Hariharan put together when he had put that chronology of, siddhāntic period and Vedic period. He mentioned about Lagada, then Aryabhatta, Varamira, and then finally Aran Iyengar sir. And that's how it has to be. So you are carrying forward a great legacy and we are all blessed. Thank you.
Diverse group. So naturally opinions are going to be diverse. We have collected all of them. Now, focused kind of activities have to happen. That has to happen in many places, not in only one place. But this before common era astronomy is somehow have been an orphan. So now we have started, I will go further. We have one more name here, Dr. Nanda, which has been added later. And there are two others which I can't read fully. Veeranarayana and one more. They are your students? Okay, then I think she will represent both of you, or you want to talk? They will talk together, please. Okay.
And my humble honor to all the dignitaries, and very, very namaste and thank you for all my diverse team group. And especially, I started thanking first because that's how my gratitude I can, means my presence here. Iyengar sir, I'm really blessed. Though this is the 9th year, I could never know that something is happening in CAHC group is there. And that's where my journey started. And I come from a specialization education. My PhD was on 8 contemporary philosophers, 4 religions. Never got an opportunity to experiment. My target was from my childhood. I was training youngsters, youth development. Means very passionate from Swami Vivekananda's thought process that arise, awake, stop, not that is the thought process. So I got an opportunity 9 years ago in Jain University to teach engineering students, and without the knowledge of IKS from 9 years onward, though I have not documented, that's my unfortunate part. Beautifully, they're brilliant students. They come up, they like values so much. And if this is the mentoring, if they get Iyengar sir's talk one day also, I think they will leave all engineering and they'll come and join in this course. That is my perspective and strong conviction. Because with my little knowledge only, whatever subject I teach, I introduce Indian knowledge system. And recently, last semester, I handled 705 students alone, and I gave the projects to engage them. And for all the projects, I gave the component that whatever sustainability, agriculture, rain, fall prediction, everything they were doing from all engineering students, now AI is there. They are doing beautifully. They are able to take all the data and incorporate Indian knowledge system. There I was getting goosebumps, and here I'm sharing. And I have pen drive, but this time I started documenting my students' work, and they really enjoy the Indian knowledge system. So I'm thankful for everything. I'm grateful, and the team is beautiful team. The group combination, Sanskrit. I'm also interested to learn Sanskrit little, though I have very little knowledge. And I'm here, this time we have introduced, and also I want to thank our chairman, sir. He is really God for us, because the way he encourages, the way he role model for us, and all our mentors, Iyengar sir and many other council members, very, very, they all, I think, 80 above age, but the way they work, we all have to, we have to accumulate their wisdom.
Thank you, Dr. Nanda, for your kind words. We belong to the same organization, but we need not talk about mutually ourselves.
So can I,
yes.
Could I add just like a few sentences to that from a student's perspective? So as ma'am mentioned, hello? Yeah. Okay, so as ma'am mentioned, IKS is a very relatively new subject for us engineers, and generally I think it should have been history for us, but we ended up learning about French Revolution and what the Russians did, what Hitler did, but nothing of what IKS is doing right now. And after coming to engineering, we're again starting from scratch. This 5-day workshop, I would conclude by stating, for me, when I entered the seminar hall, it was like a planetarium show, a privileged one, that was guided by Iyengar sir, where all of us sat, time traveled, various eras, found how the stars worked, and got back again. So thanks a lot, sir, for that, and the whole team, thanks a lot. Yeah, that's all.
Yes.
You're young people, you're in Jain University only. You can come to CAHC anytime, work with us. Sure.
So that would be great. One suggestion is please have workshops for engineering students, because I remember you mentioning manpower. I think engineers are there in large numbers. It will be a great manpower for you guys as well. So it would be great to have workshops.
I had the same thing to say, but she said it first. That was my suggestion. Engineers are a lot these days, and in India especially, so why not? And yeah, I'm extremely thankful since I had a decent amount of knowledge in astrophysics, but astronomy I didn't really have much knowledge. I gained a lot of knowledge, even though I wasn't able to absorb a lot of things which Sir told, even though Sir tried to reduce it down to our level. But I'm extremely thankful, and I'm pretty sure while reading the notes, I'll be able to understand whatever he has told. Thank you, sir.
You see that even the driest subject can be humorous, when you take it in the right spirit, as Vikram Sridhar also showed and our youngsters have showed. We take in it's a part and parcel of our life, everything becomes interesting. Now we have come to the end, and there are a few local registrants. My own colleagues, you want to say? No, okay. Then I think we pass on to Professor Pandurangi, already introduced. I request him to say a few words, particularly for the reason that apart from his scholarship, experience and knowledge of Indian knowledge systems as well as modern Indiology, since he has gone through Mahasalilam threadbare, he may say a few words about pre-siddhāntic or pre-BC astronomy.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Myself, I consider very fortunate to be here with Professor, our Guru, Professor R.N. Iyengar. The whole Indian Sanskrit literature is a big group, so big, so vast, nobody is able to understand it correctly, comprehensively. That is the problem. The thoughts of rishis and our Shastrakaras, it all started with them. As said by our Puranas, Purana, Nyaya, Mimamsa, Dharma Shastra and Angas, all 6 Angas, and these 4 Vedas. These are the core literature that we had at the very beginning. So these 4 Vedas are very primary texts for our knowledge. They were assisted by these 6 Angas, Shiksha, Vyakarana and all other things. And to understand more from these Vedas, we had the Purana, Nyaya, Mimamsa and all other things. But from the last 3,000 years, we have got our Shastras developed in a very vast group, that each Shastra has got its own thousands of texts. Vyakarana, Nyaya, Mimamsa, every Shastra has got thousands of texts. So it looks very fascinating for them to study Shastras rather than Vedas, because these Shastras have got their own logic and debates and all other things. For an intellectual man, they look more interesting. So what happened? People were studying Vedas, and for the understanding Vedas, they were studying Shastras at the earliest time. But when this time goes on, it went on, people, they put the Vedas on side and picked up Shastras more. For Rigveda, we have only 3 ancient commentaries. We have got only 3 ancient commentaries. Skandaswami is the ancient one, maybe 6th century, little bit earlier. Whereas we have got hundreds of commentaries for each Shastra. That shows how Indian textual tradition or our Shastrakara's tradition, it evolved over the time. So they were engaged in different debates with each other. Maybe these Nayayikas, they had their own debates with Buddhists and Jainists and all other things. So it got developed, and even Vyakarana, one person commented that one scholar, even if he toils for his whole life, he will not be able to understand what is Vyakarana fully. Of course, Kavya is more easier because we need not study all the Kavyas. And if you have Pratibha, then you will be able to. But you don't need that much of Vyakarana for the Kavya also. But yes, that is what I am saying. So, Rakshartham Vyakarana Madhyam, it was the time, but later on it all got developed and so vast. Nobody can claim, Tatacharya or Ramanuja Tatacharya once said, nobody can claim now, I am the perfect, I am well versed in all 6 Shastras, because each Shastra will have 1000 works. At the time when Vachaspati Mishra claimed so, there were only 6 books. It is what Tatacharya meant way back in 30 years ago. So it is the situation. We have completely given up the Vedic studies, but these Vedic studies have very important lessons for all of us. Our Adhyatmartha is there, all the Upanishads, not only Upanishads, but the Samhita and Brahmana, they have got all the things. And as we have seen Adhidaivata Artha, it is very important thing, but most of the commentators have, of course some of them have pointed out the different aspects of Adhidaivata Artha. Yaska and Sayanacharya, they have pointed out over and again, but still we need to explore these things in a very comprehensive manner, otherwise we will not be able to understand the real meaning of the Vedas. That is the problem. We have Mimamsa Shastra. This Mimamsa Shastra is about the methodology of understanding the Vedic sentences, and it is applied to other Shastras and Laukika Vyavahara also. It can be applied. They have made Vidhi Mantra Namatheya Mantra Arthavāda. Vidhi and the conjunctions, the injunctions. You should do this thing, this thing, this thing. To help them, they need some kind of mantra and arthavāda, nishedha, namatheya. But the stories or the akhyanas, the arthavādas, they are all given up to give more stress on the vidhi. So you should perform the yajna. And there are many arthavādas. Okay, you may understand little bit of them, but otherwise it is for the understanding the importance of the karma that we are doing. In that way, these arthavādas, they are all given up for long by Mimamsakas and by everybody else also. Though many Vedic commentators, they have done enough to understand them, but still there is lot of scope for understanding these things. So without these arthavādas, Vedic upakhyanas and akhyanas, we will not be able to understand what is the pre-siddhāntic astronomy. Whereas from the last 2000 years, we have got the siddhāntic astronomy, maybe from Yavana Siddhanta, Romaka Siddhanta and all other things. The astronomy got systematized over the last 2000 years after the interaction with many other countries also. But there was a great tradition of understanding this universe by our own rishis, our acharyas. So everything is there in the Vedic Samhitas and Brahmanas. So we need to understand them very properly. But unfortunately, it is all not given much stress. That is why we don't have much experts in this field. As suggested by participants, we need to have more experts. So Professor R.N. Iyengar need not toil for the whole day. I wish so. I wish I will also join him, but we are in so many other Shastra things and doing so many things. And especially it is the duty of young Sanskrit scholars not to ignore or outcast you people. throw out these people from other backgrounds. We need to understand the whole Indian texts as they are and in a comprehensive manner. So they need to study different shāstras, they need to have enough background in Kavya, Vyakarana, Nyaya, Mimamsa. So they will be able to understand them in a more efficient manner than the person who is coming from outside, who has done engineering for 20 years, 30 years, and then he got a little bit bored and he came to this Shastra. Okay, he can also work, he can understand them from a different perspective because he has another background. Whereas, as Sanskrit scholars, we don't have that background. Unfortunately, the Sanskrit Shastras have, Sanskrit Shastra people have themselves, they limited themselves to the literary studies. Whereas our earlier Acharyas, they were not limited to Shastra studies, they were more practical. So they used to study different Shastras, Ashwa Shastra, Gaja Shastra, Rasa Shastra, everything is the contribution of our rishis. So they were not limited to one thing. I am going to study this Nyaya Shastra only for my life. It is not. It was not their aim. So what they wanted is they wanted to understand the universe, Brahma. It may be also called as Brahma because it is growing again and again. But and there is another Parabrahma is there. Many people they were interested in that Parabrahma, and another group of people they were interested in Aparabrahma also. So they did study of the whole universe in their own possible way. Some of them may look outdated for the people like us. If we look at the Mahasalila, how these grahas and how these grahas are, they all came into being, how their positions are counted. Half of the Kapala, half of the other thing, everything is there in the, and we have in the other texts like Puranas, they have inherited this tradition of Mahasalila also. So we have got this tradition continued in the Puranas, whereas the astronomers, they have given up later on, and especially the astronomers like Aryabhatta and all other people, Bhaskaracharya, they have all given up all these things and they worked on their own way. We need to understand them properly, and with the knowledge on the background of that knowledge in the background, look forward to understand the universe in a new way or in the continued way. That is most important thing. We need to study Shastras and we need to develop Shastras. There is a lot of scope for the Jyotisha Shastra especially. And of course, every Shastra has got its own opportunities to be engaged in dialogue with modern science. So they will be developed further and will help the people to have a easy life. Of course, it is the purpose of all the Shastras to live systematically and in a dharmic way. It is the purpose of Shastras. They have done their own thing and it is our duty. We cannot expect somebody else coming from America to write new Shastra. It is our duty. I welcome all of you to this study, and especially we had planned a 10 days workshop of Vedanga Mahasalila, Vedanga Jyotisha in Pūrṇaprajña Samshodhana Mandira, but somehow it did not happen. And I request Professor Ganti Murthy sir to help us to have. I want to get our Sanskrit people more involved in this kind of studies. Whereas Professor Iyengar is doing his research, but this research is not seeping into the Sanskrit universities. This is the big problem. What they are studying the texts that were written some 200, 300 years old texts, and no new research is being put there to curriculum, to develop new textbooks. No. So, we get involved with so many Sanskrit people again and again. They came here to understand the things, and so the ideas, they will come into the textbooks, and that will lead to further development. Otherwise, it is only like a museum. So that's why I consider myself very fortunate to be here with Professor R.N. Iyengar. I have learnt a lot with him, and I hope this tradition will continue. Now he is around 80, but still he is working from 9 to 5. Unlike all other university professors who work from 11 to 3. So, but people are not coming, that is the problem. People are not coming here. Only few people, Sunder and all other people, they are here to assist him, and I expect Dr. Hariharan also to have more. But it is our fault. I cannot say this on somebody else, but we should bring people, our students, our youngsters who want to study these things and understand. My aim is to understand Vedas rather than understand the astronomy. Astronomy is part of my Vedic studies. So those people, of course it is the duty of our own people to study Veda. To study Veda, they need to understand all these things. Otherwise they will not be able to get them correct. Only Agni Veda Purohitam and doing Karma Kanda, no, it is not going to work. It was not the aim of, it was not the drishti of our ancient acharyas, rishis. So I request all of you to come forward and have a more great understanding of this tradition, and hope we will be doing it further. And again and again we will have a course for the Sanskrit students as part of this IKS PhD also. Today I had a talk with M.V.R. Shastriji. So we are, if time permits, if space permits, then we will be having the coursework for the PhD students who are admitted into Setubandha project in Pūrṇaprajña Samshodhana Mandira. And they should be, they are all well enthusiastic and capable persons, and they will be introduced with these ideas, and we hope something will change. And I thank Professor Iyengar and Jain University for the opportunity to be here and to get understanding of the first-hand understanding of what is happening, how participants feel the course. Thanks, one and all again. Krishnarpanamastu.
I thank Professor Pandurangi for his very insightful talk, which has come from his heart, and he expressed his anguish. 3 days back, I expressed my anguish. Remember about one of the topics, how the wrong understandings have come up, and we are not understanding our own culture. His anguish is larger than mine for several reasons, because the whole Sanskrit learning, the universities, the colleges, all a kind of a representation he has made. 2 points which are very important he did, which is important to us also. There is nothing like something like a Western or Eastern or things like that. The Shastras are so important, and the Shastric knowledge, if it has to develop, what was the Ugama, what was the inspiration, what is the starting point? That source was Vedas. So continuing Vedic studies will automatically improve the Shastric study. But Shastric is what? It is only the intellectual tradition which developed in this country. So that would automatically improve that also. And if that improves, the Western knowledge tradition which has been introduced into this country, that would combine with the previous one, not as grafting, but it will get into the nerves and veins into the DNA, and new thinking will come even in science. Now, science is thought to be only Western. That is not true. Methodology may be Western. But if you follow our own methodology, our youngsters, when the new generation comes up, maybe after 20 years, there will be very great discoveries in science, in fact. Because sometimes, people say after Raman there have been no Nobel and all that. Raman was brought up in a particular culture which was deeply internal. His thoughts, his approach for Indian knowledge systems, his analysis of music of the Mridangam, which he did, one of the very first IKS papers, I would say, was why Mridangam is musical. The drums are not musical, but the Mridangam and the tabla are musical. The harmonic sounds are produced. He worked on that because he is from the heart of music land, Trichy. Whatever he did outside is a different matter, but that comes up in the DNA. If that comes up with Sanskritam, with Vedic knowledge, Vedic astronomy, I am sure this country will go to great heights. This is what, in fact, even Swami Vivekananda and others were telling. And somebody mentioned about stories and all that. And the stories which are written by Nivedita about the children's stories, they are nothing but astronomical stories, more or less, if you look into them. So, thank you so much, Professor Pandurangi, for your very inspiring lecture. We work together. And my area is very small, whereas yours is very large, and we want to learn from you and take this forward. Thank you so much.
One thing I want to say, Professor Iyengar is a history maker, he is not historian. What he wrote is the history. What he is making is history. Where we are reading history, he is making history. For the first time, it is decisively understood that Dhruva and all other things are in a particular way. Otherwise, everything was thought rubbish. How all these things happened? It happened because of his long rootedness in the tradition. Himself being trained from very childhood in Sanskrit śāstras. But only Sanskrit śāstras would not have helped him, but his training as a scientist in the IASC. So, we need both, but strong tradition would help us. That is where we are very much fortunate to have such a. Of course, many such people are there in India. Now, for the last 25 years, I am very much happy. They are well traditionally groomed, traditionally they understand all the śāstras, they can teach śāstras, they are all well versed. They are also well versed in śāstra, in modern sciences. We have such a very great scholars, but they are not working in this direction. That is one problem. All my colleagues, Dr. Pratosh is there, Dr. Jayanti, Dr. Srinidhi, everybody is there. But now they are not, they are working in different areas, not in the understanding the Vedic culture or understanding our ancient history. That is not happening, I hope. And it is the Punaruthana Samaya, as Professor Iyengar was always mentioning. After the establishment of the Vijayanagara Empire, the first thing was to revive the Vedic tradition. Yesterday we had the Vidyaranya seminar in MES college. Same thing was there, it was discussed there. So the efforts to revive the tradition, the 13th century, after long gap again we have got our independence, and again we have come out of the colonial thinkings now. So it is time we revamp our things and thinkings and come up with a new understanding, new shastras. That is the need of time. But that is happening. It is not happening because of one's or another's work, but it is happening. It is again Utsarpini and Avasarpini. It is now Utsarpini. We hope we will be in a better position in next 20-30 years. And with Professor Ganti, who is single-handedly working with IKS division, we see every engineering college, everybody is talking of IKS now. That is the single major difference that has happened in the last 5-6 years. We hope for the better future. Sarvebhyo Namah.
Thank you, Professor Pandurangi. Now we move on to the chief guest of today's valedictory function. Ganti Murthy to say a few words.
Matrubhyo Namaha, Pitrubhyo Namaha, Gurubhyo Namaha, Sabhayi Namaha, Sabhapatibhyo Namo. Namaste to all of you. It's a real pleasure to see all of you here. And first of all, I want to apologize that I could not be here for all the 5 days. I have lost a lot of things, but then I think with the videos, recordings and things like that, I think we'll be able to at least listen to the proceedings that have happened. And I know this was perhaps Jnana Yajna that went on here, and I'm sure with a guru like Professor R. N. Iyengar ji, it was like, as they say, a pouring of nectar in your ears, and then a nourishment of our Atma. And that would have happened here, because you get, as they say in Krishna says, right, Divyam dadami te chakshu, I will give you new eyes. So now we will be able to see with new eyes whenever we look at any of our Puranas and Vedas and all of these things. And then when Professor Pandurangi ji was saying, I'll try to pick up some of the things and then I will try to say, what I heard in him when he spoke was an anguish of a scholar. He was really anguished that we are not really putting in our efforts to understand our culture the way that it should be done, especially the Vedas. And I think it is very, very important that at least we may want to take small pieces of it and at least look at it. And so that we actually can say that we are worthy bearers of this thing. So see, when we talk about our parampara is not stagnant, it has to flow. If it has to flow, it means we have to transmit it from the past to the future through the present. And that means we'll all have to work at least on few things. So see, the only way that we can basically address such scholars, the anguish of such scholars, is by working. And I think it was More who was saying that, right? I mean, I'll work and then show. Let us work in such a way that our work proves to them that all the efforts that Professor Iyengar ji, think about it, 6 hours a day for 5 hours, 5 days, and then so many hours before that, and then the meticulousness with which he has done everything, every slide. There would not have been, I didn't see the slides, but I know that there was perhaps not even one typo on there, and the way that the notes would have been written, all of that takes months of efforts, and then really a lifetime of effort to give us what they have given us. So it is through our work that we can repay what they have done. And going forward, some of you had suggested a few things. I would like to address some of them. And you had said about Lakshya Shastra, like agriculture, Shilpa, and all of these. In fact, we are organizing things that way. And you'll be very happy to know that just recently, just 2 months ago, concluded on February 27th actually, here in this thing, we took all the stories, 84 stories of Panchatantra, and painted them in 10 different art forms and translated the stories into 12 different languages. And we're going to take all of that and then send it to 1,500 schools so that they can put all of these things, and every day one story will be read out in their mother tongue by the child. And they will know Panchatantra stories, They will know art forms. They will know that in a geopolitical situation that we are in, we need a lot of niti. And Panchatantra is not cock and bull stories. It's about strategies, statecraft. We need to have citizens who are aware of, we have enough of Swayam Bodha. Shatru Bodha is missing. We need to strengthen that part. Let's do that through Panchatantra also. This is one thing that we are trying to do. But then in agriculture, we are, in fact, same thing in agriculture. We are having hands-on workshops and things like that in GB Pant Agricultural University. But we need to do more. But I agree with that. In fact, just 2 weeks ago in Sonipat, in a Gurukula, we had the students from Bharadwajji's Gurukula, there, Mohit Bharadwajji's Gurukula. There we had Vedic students of Vedic studies and IIT Roorkee students come in and then learn from a artist from Udupi who was teaching them woodcraft, how to carve wood. And they were getting, while they were doing this, they were also getting lessons on Rasa Shastra. What is Rasa? And how is it expressed and all of those things. So these are like some of the things that we are trying to do, but we need to do more. But then there, we need people who can help us. So from the IKS division, we always look for people who can help us too. And one of the best things that we can connect, one of the things that we have been doing is we look at our textbooks, all of those modifications are going on, all of that is good. We are trying to put in education, IKS content into our textbooks, all of that. But then as the one of the commentaries of Mahabharata, there Nilakanta mentions, Acharya, that famous shloka, Acharya padamadatte padam shishya svamedaya padam sa brahmacharabhyah padam kalak kramenacha. What we can learn in class is only 1 quarter. So the students also, even in schools, they may learn 1 quarter at best. There is so much to be done outside the classroom. And I think the paintings, all of these things, and then observational astronomy, teaching them that. I'll talk a little bit about the conference that is being organized by us next week. And then the stories. Stories are the way to go. And I think everybody loves stories. As humans, we have something built in us that we love stories. That's why our rishis recognize this, and all of these, this knowledge was codified in many stories, even in our things. I think we need to really take those things forward that way. And you mentioned about Ayurveda and things. One of the things that we felt was perhaps worth exploring is you mentioned how this food here could be based on the ritus, and then viruddhahara should not be there, all of these things. So perhaps we should think about Ayurvedic cooking. Why not have Ayurvedic principles incorporated into the cooking, and then everybody cooks, and let them have a potluck and then eat what they made. So, you know. Yeah, so we'll come to that. See, slowly going up the pyramid. Roti, kapda, makan, and then we'll come. But then, in fact, that is antithesis to what we think. For us, rasa is there in rasova isaha is what we say. And so that essentially is something that we have to incorporate from the beginning itself. You know, we think that art, the kavya, all of alankaras, or any of the kalas are for after we become rich. Completely wrong. It's for everybody. And does not matter what the economic status is. Everybody enjoys a good joke. Everybody enjoys a good kavya. Everybody enjoys a good song. So I think we need to be thinking about how we can, and this is where the integration of the Desha and Marga Parampara is so beautifully done in Bharat. I think we need to really take these things forward. And as you said, there are a lot of engineers, right? And as a fellow engineer, I'll tell you something. Sometimes I read a quote that says, be careful of lot of people, ignorant people in large numbers. Be careful of stupid people in large numbers. So, or ignorant people. So engineers, will we are there, we'll do whatever. In fact, I had a colleague recently who was telling me that most of the IKS world today, maybe with an honorable exception like that, is populated by engineers, or former engineers. And so one of my colleagues was saying, when his son wanted, basically said that he wanted to become an engineer, he said, yes, become an engineer, because he wants him to work in IKS. So, so that's why I think, why is it that engineers are getting attracted to this? Think about it. Because what we have in our Shastras are very rational and it makes sense. It's a logical thing that we actually understand. And this is the reason why we need to study more. There is no other this thing than Swadhyaya. We have to do Swadhyaya more and more, otherwise it's not going to happen. And then Pandurangi ji was saying 10-day workshop, we'll do it. And many of you were saying we should do more workshops. But do you know why this workshop was organized? See, Professor Iyengar ji is only one. We need to have many more. That Shishya Parampara should continue. We may not become like Professor Iyengar in one day one, that's true. But at least if we study for 6 months, 8 months, we can hold our fort for one day. At least we can do these in our own colleges and our own things. So I think we need to do these things. So in fact, my prayer to Professor R.N. Iyengar ji, when we discussed about this, we discussed about this workshop in November. Supposed to happen in December, didn't happen, various reasons, but then it happened today. And this week, all Daivanugraha. So was that we bring many more people, because 2 years ago when it happened, it was Vaidika scholars, some of the Jyotisha scholars, and then basically CAHC group here. And then it was a very vigorous discussion that happened. We wanted to expand that outside, and then Professor R. Iyengar ji said we want to take it out and then take it to more people. I said, please let us invite everybody from across the country and then train them, so that they all will take this thing to various next levels. So the onus of taking this forward and conducting the workshops is on us here. We'll facilitate, you do the work. It's like I will point, you dig. In the gardening, So, but the jokes apart, please, IKS division will help you with whatever you need on this. So please take these things forward. Include observational astronomy, it makes it fun. Include stories, include all of these things. And I'm telling you, a lot of our young people are really pining for such content and information. They are really hungry for these things. If I did not believe that, I would not be a national coordinator for a second, because I see hope there. So we'll facilitate whatever we need to do. So please go forward and do this. And the moment the young generation comes in, you'll be amazed at their energy that they will put in. And so we need to really take these things forward to our students, our children and neighbors, kids, everywhere. And I think if there is anything that IKS division can do, we will be more than happy to help. In terms of few things, there is a Mahakala conference that we are organizing. Basically, it's an international conference that we try to do. And one of the things that we did there was we made a national competition. We organized a national competition for making astronomical instruments, where they had to make working models of all these instruments. And then we had 3 categories of competitions. One was for school children, which was simple instruments that they could make. Second one was, and then they had to show that. And then second category was for college-going students, where they had to make more complex instruments like the Rama Yantra, those kind of yantras, Samrat Yantra and things like that. And not stop there, they have to explain the mathematics of it. See, because these guys are undergrad kids, they have to explain the mathematics of it. Now there was a third category for entrepreneurs. Now we have the compass box. We all have used our compass box. You know what is the 2-pointer thing used for, other than poking your kids? That divider thing, that thing, right? It was used for maps, basically reading the maps. But do we read maps that way now? Perhaps time has come to think about an astronomical instrument box like that, where we actually can make an instrument. So these are all the things that we are thinking about. And so that's why we had a competition for the companies to see if they can miniaturize it and bring it in a small this thing with innovations, passive innovation, which does not require any battery. So that was our condition. You should not put any batteries or anything, because visual observations has its own charm. And there are so many things that we can, there's a wonder that we get when we look at open skies and through the visual observations and things like that. So all of those competitions are there, and then all the things that we developed for that is available. We also trained about 600 school teachers, but that's not enough. We need to do more. And for that, we need more hands. So all of these things. So you think about a maths class teacher in class 7. What can a practicals in a maths class look like? maybe a Manayantra made by Samanta Patani, which measures the distances and all that. He made it using, what do you call this, coconut leaf. He just made it with that and then told the height of the Mahendragiri mountain. I mean, that was the kind of innovation we had. Why can't we think about these things? And if we give it to our kids, they will run with it. And so there can be all kinds of practicals that we can introduce. So another thing that we are going to do this year is, because we have talked about these astronomical instruments, now we want the kids to take observations throughout the year, make the analemma, do the zero shadow day, all of these things, so that there are two or three things that we want to basically inculcate in the kids. One, that science experiments don't end in 2 hours, because lab period was only for 2 hours. Science doesn't end like that. It goes on. So we need to inculcate the habit of thinking that things happen and they will happen on their own time scale, and we have to fit to that. They will not fit to our schedules. Second thing is the discipline and diligence of basically taking the observations. Professor R. N. Iyengar ji must have talked about the Darsha Purnamasa Ishti. A few years ago, I had the privilege of hearing that, reading his work, and then talking to some of his students. And from that I learned, and then when I see these Vedis now, it makes I feel so happy. What was the whole point they were trying to do? That discipline of sitting there, making the observations, and then doing all of these. That is why the Chaturdashi, Pratipada, and Amavasya, and Purnima, and Ashtami were Anadhyayana days. Purnami, you have it on one side, Amavasya, you have it there, and then you don't know exactly where it is. So there is a confusion. Therefore, day before and day after is, so you're excused from Vedic studies. It's not a long vacation. And Ashtami is right on top. So that is where you actually observe. And when you look at all of these kind of disciplines that they were trying to inculcate, so that you become better experimental scientists, and not just stop there. And then perhaps in your book I had read, and Professor M.D. Srinivas ji's lecture, they're one of the very first instances, I think, where it says, Drik Ganitaikyam Yugapad Yopapadyate. So Drik is observational astronomy, Ganitam is basically the mathematical. Together they will make this thing. And the same kind of thought process that was there in Vruddhagargya's time is also reflected in Nilakanta's time of Kerala School of Mathematics. He says, he warns astronomers, saying, oh, astronomer, always make observations and then correct your models. Don't be too proud of your models. Why? Because he says you are like a traveler carrying a lamp in the night. Your past data which you have used to calibrate your model is like the light that is illuminating your path behind, and then your predictions are like your path ahead, which is being illuminated. As you move, there are going to be new observations, so make those observations and then correct your models. Think about the kind of scientificity that they talk about. And then, and if you look into Yoga Vasishta, there also, you must have heard about these quotes. When we do modeling, there is a quote by Dr. Box that says, all models are wrong, some models are useful. You'll see exactly the same kind of a discussion about the utility of models and examples in Yoga Vasishta for almost 20-30 pages. That kind of rigor we had, we need to bring it back. Why is it that I'm harping on the rigor and all of these things? Because you'll see that in Professor R. N. Iyengar's work. Unfortunately, when we talk about IKS, people somehow think that the standard of actually rigor is somehow lowered because we are talking about IKS. No, it has to be higher than what we expect in other things, because that is the only way that we can repay the runa to our rishis, to our rishi paramparas. And there is so much that we can really take forward in all of these things. Just again, this was a sampling, but then hopefully you will take on this journey. There are just 100 ways in which you all can contribute. Please do get involved in all of them, and if there is anything that we can do from the IKS division, we'll always be there, and you'll have my email and everything. So, and we'll be getting in touch with some of you perhaps. Again, we have our own selfish needs because we want to reach many more people. So we'll get in touch with all of you. And again, thank you so much for coming from all over the country to attend this workshop, and nothing but gratefulness and pranams to you, sir.
Thank you so much for your such inspiring talk. Your presence has added so much value to the activity, to the workshop. They were all waiting to meet you and see you because it gives a new kind of enthusiasm to them. Obviously for us also, no doubt on that. Thank you so much.
My responsibility now is to be a little formal. So as we come to this valedictory session of this national workshop on Indian astronomy before Common Era, it is a moment of fulfillment and reflection. Yeah, I hope it is the same for everyone. So over the past few days, we have engaged deeply with India's rich astronomical traditions through text discussions and sustained scholarly exchange, many scholars in the audience. What began as workshop has truly become a shared intellectual journey. It is now my privilege to offer the vote of thanks. First and foremost, I express my sincere gratitude to Professor M.D. Srinivas for inaugurating this workshop and for his illuminating inaugural address, which set the tone for all the sessions that followed. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Professor Ganti S. Murthy for joining us today at the valedictory session and for his continuous engagement, encouragement to this initiative from the Indian knowledge systems. We are also deeply honored by the presence of Professor Veeranarayana Pandurangi, who just left, an eminent scholar of Vedānta and Darshana. When he repeatedly said that Veda is important, he did not talk as just some scholar. He holds a double PhD. He is also a Veda Bhashyakara. Okay, he was a Tikakara also. So was in the sense he wrote it when he was very young. Okay, so he's talking from that. So when such a scholar is talking and saying that it is important to look at the Veda, so you have to understand the gravity. So whose contributions to Sanskrit scholarship and traditional knowledge is anyway widely respected. His presence today adds great value to this occasion. I offer my sincere thanks to Dr. Chenraj Roychand for his continued encouragement and institutional support for such meaningful academic endeavor. My respectful gratitude to Professor R. N. Iyengar for conceptualizing and guiding this workshop with clarity and vision. I am especially grateful to Dr. Shankar Rajaraman, Director of CAHC, for his leadership, dedication and meticulous effort in organizing this workshop and bringing it to fruition. A small token of appreciation to Dr. Shankar Rajaraman. I extend my sincere appreciation to speaker Sunder, co-speaker, and who have contributed in the way you know very well. One is Sir says from the text, and he has done these things manually. The Darsha Pūrṇaprajña, it's a paper. So you could see the kind of work that was done. So now Sunder is helping with all his technical expertise with his computer knowledge. When I made a remark the other day that yeah, the AI will respond only to him the way it responds, is because he downplays, so we won't understand. But if you have, he was in the Microsoft, so if you know Bing, he was part of developing Bing. Okay, he was in Yahoo, he was in InMobi, so he's the guy for this, and he takes his job very seriously, and you have seen the output anyway. Yeah, so a small token of thank you to him too. Mr. Sunder Chakravarty. To all the participants, your engagement, your questions, and your enthusiasm have been the true strength of this workshop, because you came through selection, yes, and it is one post that was shot from the IKSD. So we are very happy that, and also sad, because we announced and we thought we'll keep the post for some time, but the response was so crazy, we had to shut it down. So we shut it down 12 days in advance. Okay, I think it doesn't happen, right? So, and I had to directly face the brunt in a way. Like, then why did you say it is 15th of this month? Why couldn't you keep it longer? And why can't you run parallel sessions and things like that? There's only one Iyengar, what do I do? So a workshop comes alive not merely through lectures, of course, but through the seriousness and curiosity of the participants, yeah, which all of you were. And in that, this gathering has been truly heartening. Yeah, some of you are silent, but we know for sure that you are really serious, and it came through with your feedback. I also thank the organizing team, Roopa Ramesh, Smitha Bhatta, Vani, Warija Adiga. Yeah, actually a big round of applause because they did a lot of work, and your kit is intact because of them. Yeah, right from putting them into it and meticulously planning it and putting the slips. Food slips you didn't give. So I thank them deeply. As we conclude, we hope that the conversations initiated here will continue in research, in teaching, and in future collaborations, right? With gratitude to all who made this possible, I now declare this workshop formally concluded. Thank you.